Yo, what's good, everybody?
Hey.
Episode 49 of the Specktators podcast. I'm Packy, alongside Cue the Bars, Dags, Moe-T,
Bark.
everybody here. It's been a long, interesting weekend,
That's for sure.
but fun.
Definitely.
We had a little trip to Columbus. For those that don't know, I had a show there with Justin Stone.
Hey.
He had a little hometown show, a big hometown show, sold out.
Sold out.
Word to Justin Stone, but we made the trip on Saturday through the blizzard.
AM to PM.
And it was no joke. It's supposed to be about a 4-hour drive.
Snow joke.
No joke.
Wow. Didn't we make that joke this weekend? But not for the people. Took us about 7.
Yeah.
A little more maybe.
Supposed to be 4.
Yep. But we made it. Word to the Green Mitten bus. Got us there. Danny made the whole drive himself. Holding it down.
Shout out Jared for the,
Moe-T whipped the wife down there. How'd it go for you, Moe-T?
Oh, it was an adventure.
A little icy?
I don't think I've ever driven through something that bad.
Nah.
Like ever.
But dude,
especially that long?
I mean,
that long too, yeah.
We had the bus, and then you drove, and then Glow and her friend drove, and we all got down there. Took us a long time, but no major issues.
Yeah, I was definitely going real slow.
Yeah. Like 40 tops.
Yeah, for real.
Show was really fun. Obviously, it was sold out, but there were some people that didn't show up, understandably so.
Yo, there were people out there. They said they've been out since 11 a.m.
Waiting in line.
Yeah, when we pulled up
That's
in the
insane.
freezing rain, they're outside and like, we here.
Yeah, that shit's
Shout
so
out to
cool.
them.
That shit's so cool, but it's also like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
That is cool, but like, don't you have a ticket?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's like they want to be in front.
Yeah, I want to be in the front row.
Fuck you guys. For real. Hell no. Nobody. I don't like anybody that much.
Well, what sucks too is like when we got there,
not
one
just
girl was like, "Yeah, I've been here since 11," and then
Yeah.
while we were loading in, she's like, "Can you, like, I need to go to the bathroom. Can you, Bob?"
Yeah,
it's
what
like,
the hell?
it's not under my. Like, this isn't. A, it's not even my show.
Right.
B, it's up to the venue. Like, I wish I could help you out, but I can't help you. But I feel for you. Like, damn, you've been out here forever in this shit, and they won't even let you piss.
That's
Wrong.
It's wild.
It's business.
Yeah, damn.
Oh yeah.
But no, really dope crowd. Shout out Justin Stone for putting it all together. We were talking earlier about how the venue was cool as far as like I didn't talk to that many venue people and everything went smoothly. Sound guy was good.
Yep.
Really, quick, got it done, and the sound was the same as how we checked it when we went to go perform.
Rare.
Yeah, it is.
For real.
It is rare.
For real.
I was super impressed with how he handled everything.
Yeah.
Yo, you know why I think it was so good? The drink prices were outrageous.
Were they?
Yes. Jesus. But the service was great. So I mean,
Damn. I probably still owe you for a drink.
Fuck no. You owe me shit.
Probably do.
Nah, you straight.
Cause I didn't even know drink prices were because
Yo, it was silly.
you guys were buying them for me. I'm a fucking bum.
It's like, nah, I got you, bro. Like,
I see why you snuck that one in there. Just dude, drink prices.
I don't want to tell them, but now we're on the air.
I saw you were getting faded, Packy. Don't you remember those
Off
prices?
the drinks I was bringing you?
Damn. But yeah, everything went smoothly. I wanna shout out Kent.
With a T.
He's like a tour manager type guy that Justin brought on to do that for this show and did his job well, man. Everything we asked for, like I'd asked for different things with the guest list. He made sure we were comfortable, knew what we were doing, knew what everything. I had to change the guest list multiple times for Apollo's ass. And he was cool. He was like, he was just like.
For his ass?
For his ass.
Like he was the type of guy that I'd ask him to put Apollo's name on the guest list. Then I asked him for a +1 for him. Then I asked him because Apollo forgot his ID. He texted me on his way and was like, "Hey, can you change it to Mike +1 because I don't have my ID?" And I was like, "Fuck, I gotta ask this dude for the same shit for the third time." And he's like, "Yeah, bro. Do they need credentials too?" like instead of just whatever or not even responding, he's just like, do they need this as well? So
it's nice when people do their job. Enjoy doing their job.
Yeah, so I appreciate that shit. I want to give him a shout out. And word to Justin, of course, for putting it all together, selling that shit out quickly.
Yeah.
The openers did a good job from what I hear. I know a lot of Spec fans that were there enjoyed some of the opening acts and stuff like that. And shout out the real Spec fans that always show out. Christian,
Victoria.
Vic was there, Shad was there, Brad was there, Shad and Brad.
Shad and Brad. Vic Tad.
Yeah, there's a lot of Spec fam there, and that's always good to see.
For sure.
I mentioned Young Apollo.
You did.
This guy.
From what I understand, he had quite a night.
That's what I heard.
And I figured no better way to find out exactly what went down, because honestly, going into today, I had no idea what went down really, because I haven't talked to him much about it. And I figured what better way than on the podcast in front of everybody. So I'm going to give him a call. He's actually in the studio right now, but since we don't really have the setup in here to bring a fifth mic, we'll just call him. All right, well, we couldn't get a hold of Apollo because I guess it's too rowdy and B-dubs. But basically, this dude, it was like 3:30.
In the afternoon.
In the afternoon, I go on stage at 8:30.
And we left when?
We left town at 10:30, and we're still a ways away from getting to the venue. We ended up getting there at like 5:30 or 5 o'clock, something like that.
Yeah.
So Apollo at 3:30 is like, I don't know, bro. Should I go? Like, blah, blah. And I go, probably not. Like, I don't think you're going to make it in time. It's shitty out. You shouldn't go.
Yeah.
He says Spec Myers is telling him he ain't shit if he doesn't go. And blah, 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 decides he's going to come. So I get one last effort, one last-ditch effort. I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think you should, bro. He does it anyway. So his boy Mike goes with him. Long story short, they go in a ditch like twice. Got to pay like $170 the first time to get out.
Yeah.
They don't end up getting to town till about 1:30.
In the morning.
Passes out, heads back home at like 9:30.
Successful mission. Apollo.
Dumbass.
So as annoying of a drive as it was for us, it was worse for other people.
We didn't go in the ditch, that's for sure.
No.
The door was open, but we didn't go in the ditch.
And Apollo wants everyone to know this was a level 3 storm.
How many levels do you think there are?
I bet there's 5. I bet there's 5.
Yeah. Just so you know what we were all dealing with. But yeah, at least everyone's safe. Everyone's back in town. And yeah, it's just kind of a crazy weekend weather-wise, show-wise, but it's all good.
Yeah.
Everyone's here.
We here.
Got done.
Happy to be back doing the pod. What else big happened this weekend? Big NFL playoff games.
Playoffs.
Yeah, real good ones.
Did the teams you want to win?
No,
not
Well,
completely.
the
I
Rams.
wanted LA.
I didn't care about I didn't care as much about that game though.
Yeah.
But I mean, Patriots. You got to expect they're going to win, no matter how shitty people say they are.
When the Chiefs scored with like 2 minutes left, I knew it. You just knew it.
Yeah.
You just knew it.
Too much time. It wasn't
Too
even 2
much.
minutes. It was, it was
2 minutes, like 3 seconds.
Yeah, it was. You're right.
Well,
Yeah.
dude, what was it? 14-0 at halftime, and then it ended up being 31-31 at the end of regulation.
Yeah.
So they
Right.
it was a dope game because they
It
came
was.
back and everything.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. I didn't really care between the Saints and the Rams. I'm annoyed at how it happened at the end.
Yeah.
I know we talked about it
Which one?
off camera.
Rams.
Saints Rams, that fucking pass interference non-call.
Brutal.
Like,
Insane.
That's game.
Yeah.
and we talked about, like I said, we talked off camera, but dude, we're normally not the guys that are like, oh, the fucking refs, man, because that's just part of the game.
Right.
Hate that.
But in that moment, and with how egregious that call was, and if the call gets called correctly, which it should 99.9% of the time in something like that was egregious.
Mm-hmm.
The Saints win.
Yeah.
Like, that was a wrap.
Yep. Literally a game.
I'm
So that one
heartbroken
hurt.
for Saints fans, man.
And I can't believe that cornerback was talking shit to people
Yeah.
after that play. Like, sick play, bro. You fucking ran over and fucked a guy that was not looking.
Yeah. You tackled a guy while he was trying to catch the ball.
And you almost helmet to helmet him. And whatever. I mean, it was just like, come on,
he got
dude.
lucky. Yeah.
You literally just lucked out. But, I mean,
it's the equivalent of a guy banking in a 3 and then being like, fuck yeah, I'm the shit. Like, no, a guy banks in a 3 and he's like, you know, shrug and move on. Like, I'll take it. Yeah. But come on.
Realize it's lucky.
Yeah. I was like, oh man, that's a brutal no call. Yeah. And then I saw him talking shit, and then I was like,
then it pisses you off even more. Yeah.
But it was a good game other than that. Real good.
Yeah. Chiefs Patriots. I wanted to get your guys' opinion on NFL overtime.
They're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, it's better than it was a few years ago.
Right, with the field goal winning it. Now, you know, if you get the touchdown, it's over first.
Yeah. And that's the thing, bro, is the reason I'm so against it, and yeah, I understand now that it happened, it's like easy to be like, oh, now it's this big issue. But dude, you shouldn't have in an athletic event, if you can avoid it, you should not have something crucial come down to the flip, literally a coin flip.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it does in this case, because you look at all 4 of the teams that were left in the playoffs, but especially this Pats Chiefs game. You're talking about 2 really good teams, and they're mainly really good because they have really good offenses and really good quarterbacks.
Right.
So when it gets to overtime, whichever team can throw their quarterback out there first, I don't know what the percentage is, but it's got to be a pretty damn high percentage chance of winning compared to the other team, all based off winning a coin flip.
Right.
And I don't like that shit.
I agree to an extent, but
what's the extent?
The extent is that defenders get paid millions and millions and millions of dollars to play defense and stop these guys. And I know it's an offensive league. That's the way they've been trying to make it forever.
Yeah.
But
it's an offensive overtime.
Ooh. Boris.
Well,
Boris DI.
I don't have any bars left for you, but
that's what I'm on the couch for.
I don't know. I agree with you to an extent. Like you said, I'm glad it's not the field goal anymore.
Yeah.
Because that was ridiculous. Teams could throw one pass, kick a field goal on first down, whatever.
Yeah, that was dumb.
However, you have to put something into a defense at some point. You know, if a different team was there and they have the number 1 defense in the league, like the Bears or something, and they get scored on, shouldn't be any, you know, it shouldn't make anyone feel any difference. Like, oh, shit, they only lost because it was Kansas City's shitty-ass defense. Well, that's part of your fucking team.
And I agree with you, but that's my point, is that I want the whole game of football to be represented in overtime. I don't want it to be like, oh, well, we tied this team in regulation, and then we went into this extra period to decide it, and the only aspect of my team that got to decide it was my shitty defense. Yeah. And the only aspect of their team that decided it was their sweet offense.
Right.
And that was only decided based off a random-ass coin flip.
Yeah,
that's what I don't like about it.
They just need to take the next step, which is just
have the other team get a
one
shot.
more shot. Exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
That's it.
Right.
You get one shot.
And yeah, I guess I'm with you as far as like,
bitch about fucking.
No,
well, the other team's defense sucks.
Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
No, see, that's what I hate about all these fucking arguments. Is like, well, then it's blah blah. It's the same shit with like the college football playoff. Like, it should be 8 teams. Oh, well, if we make it 8, you'll bitch about. No, I won't. If you make it 8, I will be happy. And I'm not saying 4 isn't okay. I'm not saying it's like it's the end of the world. Same shit with the current NFL overtime. I'm not saying it's like just the end of the world. This shit is so fucking terrible. I'm just saying you could super easily make it better.
Right.
Yeah.
And then why don't you? Like, it's not that crazy to change this rule.
I mean, other leagues do it.
Yeah. Bro, some of the best, like, the most fluid leagues a lot of times are the best. Like, the ones that are just so rigid and stuck in their fucking ways tend to lose people.
Right.
Yeah.
But whatever. Like I said, it's not the end of the world. It's just like
shouldn't have gone to overtime. Anyway,
you think the Pats should have? not let it, or the Chiefs should have not
offsides.
The Chiefs should not let it.
With that offside,
the guy was standing 5 yards over the offside line
on the interception play. On that play,
yeah,
you gotta be a real dumbass.
Yeah, he's getting.
Sorry, I hate to say it, but there's no reason that I can come up with that you're just lined up offsides.
Andy Reid doesn't have control of his teams.
Hell no.
That's why I can't get over the big one.
Dude, but real talk.
That's
like,
attention to detail by a player.
Yeah.
And, I mean, think about this. From me to you, maybe a little bit farther, I have to look over and make sure I'm not past this line.
Yeah.
And not only am I, like, barely not past that shit, I'm fucking so far over that line.
Yeah, bro.
Way over that line.
Like I said, he had to look back to see the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that not like, oh, shit.
And you had time to fix it.
And not blaming anybody else, but like, why isn't your teammate like, where
Get
the fuck are you at?
But bro, like I know what you mean. You said it kind of jokingly, but with like Andy Reid and blah blah blah, like attention to detail, all that stuff. When you get down to, you're talking about good ass teams that are trying to go to the Super Bowl,
right?
And then I remember it was just last year, right? With was it Malcolm Butler, the Patriots cornerback or whatever, had played like every game and then sits the Super Bowl, and everyone's like, oh, Belichick's he's too much of a fucking stickler. Like he lost him the game by not playing him and blah 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 blah. But bro, there's obviously something that works with Belichick and the way he is such a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
And bro, it makes you wonder about little shit like that. Like if a player fucks up in a tiny way, Belichick doesn't stand for that shit.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And then you see dumb shit like that. Like you said, man, I hate to say it, but that dude doesn't go offsides and the Chiefs fucking win.
They win the game.
Yeah.
They're in the Super Bowl. That's not like a regular season move.
Against
not
the
that
Rams,
it's any
what we wanted.
Right.
It's still a game you got to win no matter what game it is of the season. But
and there's a difference.
Pay attention to the game. Strategize your fucking life.
And you said it.
I'm getting shirts, man.
You said it, but there's a big difference between a penalty like that one and then one where you're trying to make a play and you make a penalty.
Yes.
Yep.
Like we talked about even that Rams-Saints play, as bad of a play as it was, and it should have been a penalty, the dude's out here trying to make a play.
Yeah, that one's on the ref.
Right.
And that's what I was
even
about
if
to
the
say.
ref calls
those
it,
are always on the ref, as opposed to you are blatantly over the line where it's like they have no choice.
Yeah.
They have no choice.
Yeah,
It's
I'd be frustrated if I was a teammate. You know what I mean?
Very, and it's hard because you've made mistakes in games too. But hopefully, most of a player's mistakes are trying to make a great play.
Yeah,
and not in the biggest game.
Yeah,
and I tweeted this shit earlier, but you're lined up 3 feet over the line. You're 10 feet from the ball. All you have to do is look over, and you have 10 seconds to sit there and look at the ball and make sure, oh, wow, I'm way off. Just move your ass back.
Yeah.
Even if you jump off sides or something, that's more excusable. But you're just standing there off sides. I can't figure it out.
It's tough to accept, man. If you're a fan or a teammate or a coach.
If that happened to the Lions or something, I don't know. That guy's got to go.
Oh, I feel you, bro. That's rough, but should be a cool Super Bowl.
Yeah, it'll be great regardless.
Patriots, Rams.
Yeah,
got the new upstart young blood, like next best coach in McVay and young quarterback and all that going against the GOAT.
You know you're gonna get a good game out of the Patriots.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, they ain't gonna roll over and die.
Not at all.
But yeah, should be a good one.
Yo, they'll probably win it.
Wouldn't be surprised, man.
Not at all.
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yo, they were, and I'm pretty sure. Yesterday they were slight underdogs.
Patriots?
Yep, like 1 point.
I heard they were eating that up too, like being the underdogs because they never are.
And now today they're not. They're favorites by like
against the Rams.
Yeah, like 1.5, 2, something like that. I think it's 2, which is pretty.
It's we might have talked about it on the last podcast. I don't remember, but it's nuts the amount of
how accurate Vegas is.
Well, but the amount of the amount of championship games Brady's been in, and Super Bowls and everything.
5 out of the last 6.
In the AFC was like 13 of his 17 seasons.
I'm pretty sure I heard
he's been in like the AFC Championship game.
3 in a row
How long has he been
3
in the
Super
league?
Bowls in a row and
17.
5 out of the last 6.
Played 17. I think he's been
That's
in 18
nuts,
maybe.
bro.
Crazy.
Oh.
The Lions can't even go to the fucking damn playoffs, dude. Like
Ever.
they can't even get to the championship game or the Super Bowl ever.
Barry walked
In our
away.
entire
Calvin walked
existence.
away.
Yep.
And this one player just goes there every year. Miss
Insane.
me, dude.
But
That's
it's cool.
nuts.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like, oh, fuck him. He wins.
No, that's what I mean. That's why I'm not a Patriots hater, dude.
Right.
It's just if I have a choice of having new blood in the fucking Super Bowl and
Right.
having the damn Patriots again.
Our blood. The fucking
Right.
Lion blood.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's us.
That's going to be a while.
Yo, that I don't think that shit's ever going to happen.
So the hottest shit going on in hip hop right now, boys.
Jesus.
Where's the kid?
Where's the kid used to sleep on my couch?
Big Soldier, Big Draco.
Big Draco.
How do you feel about him, Q?
Man.
Are you fucking with Big Soldier, man?
No,
You're not?
no, not musically. And he's pretty annoying, but he is pretty funny. He's pretty funny, but he's
Mr. Kid.
He's so extra.
Yeah.
I'm not an extra type of person. You know what I'm saying? I like.
Yeah.
I'm not into it. I'm not into like.
Dude, what is
The
the deal
theatrics.
with this video game system that he keeps like?
He came out with that shit. It wasn't like a long time ago, but it was before all this shit was going on.
Yeah.
And he was selling it?
Yeah.
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 What?
I gotta be honest, I didn't do any research on the video game
I have
system.
no idea about
I
it.
saw
And like
a review.
I don't even
or
get
two,
how that's
And
possible.
it was not good. From
Well,
a review.
it's like flooding now on YouTube, and that's the only reason why I like looked into it. And there's so many YouTubers now that are saying like this is not licensed at all, and it's just like a bootleg version of all of these video game titles.
Well, but that's
That there's no way that he could have license at all.
I don't know, because he's literally on, and like I said, I'm not making the argument that, oh, it is because he said it, but he's on camera in interviews saying that these shits are licensed.
I know, but there's people in the industry though that are just like, there's just no fucking
But
way
it
because
just, if that's, I'd be interested to know if that's true, because you got to be a fucking moron to go on national broadcasts and
Syndicated
talk about
radio.
this shit and say it's all licensed and all that shit, and it's not, because you're about to get your ass sued.
I know,
Well-
but it's just insane to me how like, so yours is licensed, but like they didn't license it to anybody else.
I mean, from what I
like-
see, it doesn't look that dope. So
Well, from what he's saying, it
No,
sounds like it's
it's-
just a system that plays a few random games from different systems, whatever, and that's just what it
Yeah,
is.
I
It's
don't
not
get
a
what the
few
fuck
random
it is.
games though.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know, but that's just
Yeah,
what I'm hearing.
It's not. It's like, like somebody actually got one and like reviewed it on YouTube, and they have like everything, like PS1 games, all the Nintendo games, all the like, and he's just saying they're like classic titles that like it's not only Nintendo titles, it's like tons of different titles.
What makes everyone think they couldn't be licensed?
Because the amount of money that it would take to license like Crash Bandicoot, Mario, Sonic, all of those would be astronomical to the point where there's a reason why no one has done it. Like PlayStation hasn't even done it for their own titles
Yeah.
because they can't afford the licenses. So how the hell did Soulja Boy do
them
that?
ringtones went crazy.
Dude, Big Draco, don't put anything past Big Draco.
I was
bro.
cranking that shit for like some years.
I'm calling.
Impressive.
Damn, Mr. Kid. Cranking that thing for years. I don't know, man. It's like if you want to have the serious conversation about it, yeah, I'm not like on board with all the antics and the extra shit and the straight up like lying. But there's something about him for me that just like it's pure entertainment. Like there's, to me, and maybe it's just me, but I don't feel like he's trying to pull the wool over my eyes. I feel like it's like, bro, we know this is just funny. Like we know what you're doing.
Yeah, he's
But
trying to
I guess
get.
there probably are people that like buy into it.
I think
and
it's
then
working.
Yeah, like I don't know, man. It's the age we live in with this shit. Like you are better off being a walking meme and then putting out music.
Right.
That will sell better than putting out dope music and shutting the fuck up.
Yeah, that's so fucking annoying.
Yeah.
He performed at Yams Day.
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And people were
Was it
probably
yesterday?
hyped to
Today?
see him.
Yesterday? Over the weekend?
I don't fucking know. That's the shit though. is now everyone is just doing that for that reason.
Right.
Yeah.
And I hate that shit.
I agree.
But
if you do it genuinely, and I'm not saying this situation, but there's a billion situations we could talk about. If you're doing that shit because that's you and that's how you are and blah, 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 it's a lot more, authentic and just like funny and enjoyable to watch than if it's just like, oh, this motherfucker's trying to get his shit tight again.
Yeah.
Like, cool.
No, I was just going to have you turn it off.
The fucking glare in that picture, dude, it's driving me insane. I bet everyone's watching that.
But no, I agree with you. Like, that's why I said if you want to have the real conversation, yeah, I'm all about genuine fucking shit and not the bullshit, of course. But it's like at a certain point, when are we just the fucking old heads that are just hating on?
No, and that's what I was gonna say too. Is the Breakfast Club interview or the first thing that happened? That was funny. I enjoyed watching that. Now he's doing it on every interview that there is, and it's like the same act.
Yeah, I know.
Because it worked.
You know?
Because it works.
Exactly.
And it's continuing to work.
And I understand that, but I just can't believe people buy into this shit forever.
Not forever. It'll be over.
Yeah, it's
soon.
not forever.
It's
yeah,
not
that's
forever.
true.
Yeah.
And that's why it is.
Seems like
that's
forever.
why it is pure entertainment, because it's like, bro, okay, I watched the Breakfast Club interview, right? And then I'll go watch like Everyday Struggle when he went on that. And if he was just being normal, like if he was just being level-headed Soulja Boy that I got a new record out and whatever, I'd cut that shit off.
That's real.
But instead he's like, Rich the Kid.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ha. And I'm watching, like, because it's funny. Some people do that shit and I don't find it funny and it's just a bunch of extra shit and whatever. Like,
someone does.
If you can actually be funny to me, then I guess, dude, it's just, it's the entertainment factor of it all.
I like all of that. To me, the reason why I started getting into the game system though is because that's where I draw the line of like, he's making money off of this shit, and if it's not legitimate and people are gonna start sending him back to him, like that's gonna be a little bit like, I'm all about the like, do it for entertainment because you're releasing music, because we've seen it all before and shit. But then when it crosses over to like, that's when it crosses over to like, okay, now you're just trying to like make money off of something that's not legit and taking people's money and hoping that they don't notice. Like that's when I draw the line.
Okay, I guess another interesting thing is we all kind of agree in many aspects of life today that the media is fucking whack and ruins everything and makes everything worse than what it should be. So I guess a follow-up would be, to what point is media responsible not to like not bring these people on or whatever, but to force these people to defend the outrageous things they're saying and not just hype them up?
Yeah.
Like, okay, if the Breakfast Club thing was the first thing he did, I can understand them not being armed with any type of like facts to refute shit he's saying, blah, blah, right? If you're the second interview he's doing and you heard all the shit he was talking on Breakfast Club, aren't you a little responsible to like do some fact checking and digging and like be like, bro, what are you talking about when you say this? Instead of just hearing him say it and laughing, like we can do as the public. But when you're the person actually interviewing him, shouldn't you be like kind of calling him out on some bullshit? Not in a way of like not acknowledging that it's entertainment, but in a way of like, okay, I'm not going to let you just come on my platform and say a bunch of dumb shit.
But the thing is, it's all entertainment though.
Yeah.
They're in it for the views just as much.
They're all the same.
And it depends on who you work for. You know, like some stations are a lot more interested in confrontation and stuff like that. Some just want the person to come through.
Right.
Like, don't ask any confrontational questions because we need them to come back again, maybe.
Yeah, that's
true.
true.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's what's unfortunate about all this media, bro. Is that's what it all is. It's like, let's get the most fucking clicks.
Yeah.
And let's keep everybody happy.
But to that exact point, though, that media, which gets the clicks, it's all to the consumers. It's the consumers' fault. Like it's the people.
They're buying it
because the reason that they want it is because the consumers
the
like it.
reason that they do, like Fox News, they have a base. It's like CNN, they have a base. The reason they do what they do, or anyone, is because it works.
It's the
like
shit that's
people
gaining
are
traction.
interested. Exactly.
Yeah.
People will talk about it, and you know, clicks equals money, and that's the bottom line.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
Stone Cold said so. Smash this over there.
No, I mean you're right, bro. That's true. Like,
Well, and
everyone's in this shit to make money, and if that's the shit that's generating your money, then why the fuck would you avoid it?
I think there needs to be something that, because the Breakfast Club and all those radio shows, like that's a different entity to me than like news. Because there had been a stigma back in the day where news outlets were supposed to tell you the 100% facts, and that's where you went to get it.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, somewhere along the line, all that shit got muddied up, and now they're not really expected to do that.
Right.
So we need to rein.
I think because they started losing ratings to places that did.
it is.
Yeah,
That's because that's the reason. But the thing is, where do we go then to get
the news?
Right.
For the real shit.
For the truth, right.
Right.
Because lies are always way more interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what's so hard too is like, as an individual, like the ideal answer to that would be, okay, take in multiple sides and then draw your own conclusions. But bro, it's like, if you're taking in the wrong shit, you might not fucking know. Like, I see it all the time, and I probably do it too when I don't even know, but it's like, I'll watch people watch a couple things, go make some broad conclusion from it on their social media, and make some strong statement about it. And they've watched a couple things. It's not like they're just being absolutely ridiculous, offhanded. And in the meantime, there's some other content out there that would completely refute what they're saying.
It's human nature, though.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, like Making of a Murder. If you knew nothing about this case, which I would assume like 95% of people wouldn't.
That went into it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you come out of it and you're like, yo,
This is going to be the number one thing on my agenda that I'm going to.
Exactly.
And bro, that's why I think we talked about it when we talked about Making a Murder. Like, I'll watch that shit. I'm entertained. I formed an opinion on it, right?
Yeah.
It's going to take a fair amount for me to just come out and be this huge, like, I'm going to sign some petitions and I'm going to fucking, because it's like, I just find it hard to believe that I know everything, you know? And
That's the problem, though.
yeah,
Is no one's like that.
I know. And that's what even having a podcast, like I think about all the time. I'm not the person that would normally have a podcast or things like that, because I don't, like, you know, Mo, all the time. I'm like so meticulous with how I say something, or I'm just very careful that I have the facts and stuff like that, because I hate when people just jump to these conclusions. But when you have a podcast or whatever, you're kind of supposed to just give your opinion. It's not always going to be right. And so you have to walk that line of like being irresponsible, but also like there is value in stating your opinion, and then just be open to being proven wrong.
Well, that's the thing, is we've talked about this on probably both podcasts at one point or another. You can have an opinion. That doesn't mean you need to argue every other fucking person on the internet that their opinion is wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the same way that you have your opinion, they have theirs. But the problem with some people is you're not allowed to have one.
Yo, most.
The silencing.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the thing I have the biggest problem with.
Me too. And that's what gets obnoxious about social media and stuff.
It's almost too,
Just
like,
let
anything
people do
you
them.
believe in.
And if you don't fucking agree with it so much, then either don't say anything on it. It's pretty simple. Everybody hears that.
You can't do that.
But they have to. I have to say
do that.
something.
Yeah.
So if you want to say something, say, well, you know, my personal view is this, and I have these facts about it, but I can see where you're coming from too. Everything doesn't have to be all the way one side or the other.
Yeah.
But you have
That's what gets so
the
fucking
platforms
annoying.
now, though. It says, what do you think?
Right.
Like, what are you thinking right now?
That's
Let
like
the
literally
world know.
why social media was made.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's so people
you
can-
feel empowered.
everybody's
So
an
you can have your opinion.
Yeah.
And people will react to it.
And-
And that's why reaction channels are popping, because reaction, that's life, man. Like, when you like, everything is for a reaction in one way, shape, or
And
another.
so I think, piggybacking off of what you guys are saying there, the day and age we live in, all the social media things we have, all these things, I don't think that in itself is bad. The what do you think, right? In and of itself. I think it's what you said as far as, let's have everyone give their opinions. Great. Let's then not just, it's the cancel culture. Let's not do the canceling thing. Let's actually debate ideas. Then.
Right.
And let's stick to what we're debating. If someone says something you have an issue with, give them a reason to change their mind on that issue.
I mean,
Don't be like, oh, it's because you're a fucking dumbass. Like,
right.
Well, I bet
This is
most
a-
people can't even fucking go past.
And that's the problem. That's the problem. Is the people with these opinions don't want the debate.
The squeakiest wheel makes the most noise.
They want to silence people. They want to just call people names and be done with them. They don't want to hear ideas.
Good of a segue as you could make into that Bryon Cranston stuff.
Yeah.
Honestly,
yeah, I know you hit us up this week and wanted to talk about
it's exactly what it is. And for any background on that, just a real quick one. Bryon Cranston's in this movie.
The Upside, I believe it's called.
With Kevin Hart.
Yep, with Kevin Hart, and he plays a disabled person. Obviously, he's not a disabled person. So there's huge backlash. Why didn't you get a disabled person to play this? And Bryon Cranston stuck up for himself like he should and said, I think I was a good fit for the role and whatever. He didn't say like anything bad about anybody else. He just said, I deserve this role. I have earned it and whatever. And so there was that going on. And then eventually Trevor Noah, the Daily Show host, gets on the air and he has a little segment. It's like a 6-minute clip, so we won't get into playing all that. However, he says, in a nutshell, he says at first he was totally on Bryon Cranston's side, saying that, he didn't necessarily think that was necessary for a disabled person to play a disabled person in a movie. This dude's a professional actor, and he earned that right to play that role. And he said that he was on Twitter and he was looking through comments on a post he had made, and he said perfectly exactly what we were just saying. Everybody's comment was like, oh, I want to kill you. Go fucking jump off bridge, blah, blah. It was just all this like just talking shit stuff. And he said one disabled actor tweeted him and said something calmly and wanted to have a conversation about it. And he said that, I'm a disabled actor. There aren't very many roles for disabled actors. So when a disabled role comes along where the character is disabled, it'd be great if more directors would, or casting agents or whoever does the job, would look into people that are disabled. And even me right there, I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I am disabled myself. So, in a way, like I understand where that's coming from. So anyway, Trevor Noah said that it opened his eyes, and it just kind of made him realize that, yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. That's a very open statement. He was just trying to have a conversation, and it wasn't everybody trying to argue all the time. It was just made sense, and he came in and he said that. So,
and it didn't have to be included with, and fuck Bryon Cranston for doing this. It was just, here's kind of, in addition to what's, like, there's nothing wrong with what happened, but here's something to maybe think about.
Yes. Right? And so he said that, and he continued on to say that I don't blame Bryon Cranston for getting this role, and I think he did a great job with the role on top of that. But maybe next time, if a role comes around where this works out, it would be good for a director to look into that. And I thought, like, that was very well said. It wasn't one way or the other. It was just kind of like, yeah, wow.
I see both sides. Yeah.
The light came on.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And so this proceeded to get tweets from...
Well, Trevor Noah does like a 6-minute piece explaining this to people, right?
Correct.
Like,
yeah, this was on the Daily Show, or it was on maybe like at a commercial break type of thing, but they had it filming, and he put it out.
Yeah. And his explanation, I think we all agree, was like, just to give background, whatever, was like, fine. Because initially we were talking about this in a text, and we were kind of all on the same page of, I don't know, this seems a little extra. Like, this guy's an actor, and he's playing a role. He can play a disabled person. Yeah. So initially it was like, why does Trevor Noah need to? But then when you heard what he said, it was like, it was kind of what the actor said. It was like, he's not coming at Bryon Cranston. Yeah. He's not saying this can't happen.
And he's not saying his opinion is the end all be all.
Right.
He's just saying
he found some new information and thought of things in a different light.
This was my initial opinion. Yeah. I heard this, and then I thought about this, and I'm like, oh, I could understand where you're coming from.
And he was like, this is something Joe Schmo might not think about.
Exactly.
And that happens all the time with disabled people, you know? And I'll get into this in a minute, but there's this lady who's a disabled YouTuber, and she makes videos all the time, and now I can't think of her name. I have the tweets if you want to bring those up. There's a bunch of them, but we can just summarize those real quick. Annie Segara. She says, I mentioned it before, and this is a good example of how, quote, I never thought of it like that, can feel dehumanizing.
Leave that one up.
So,
because she's got a bunch of tweets, right?
There's many more tweets to go with this one. This is a whole thread. However, this is like, could go so many ways, and I'm just trying to think of the correct way to go. I've mentioned it before, and this is a good example of how I never thought of it like that can feel dehumanizing. How is that ever dehumanizing, in my opinion? I never thought of it like that. I don't know Trevor Noah. I don't know his family. I don't know his friends. This dude might have never met a disabled person in his entire life. I don't know. I've met people that don't have much experience with disabled people. Does that mean that I can't help them see a different side of this? And why should I blame this guy for kind of what I'm standing for, and that's teaching people another side to the story?
Well, isn't the whole idea of any like oppressed group, any minority that feels left out or anything, isn't the whole idea of everything that they would preach to get people to think of it like that? Mm-hmm. Isn't that the whole idea?
Yeah, and that's what I would hope.
Empathy
and so I actually went and watched a few of this woman, her YouTube videos just to see like what's she really about, like where she's coming from. In her YouTube videos, she says some things that I agree with. She says, she had this video of how people get super pissed when you park in a handicapped spot and you can walk and shit like that. And it's like, yeah, there's other disabilities that have nothing to do with walking. She's in a wheelchair, but she can walk, but she can't walk for long distances. So she uses a wheelchair when she goes to the store, for instance, or something like that. Great, that's fine. You can't pick so many battles. Straight up. And I mean that in like the humblest way. It's dehumanizing for a person to change his thoughts on a situation toward the way that you want. It doesn't even make sense to me.
Well, and
you are out here advocating for this. You're trying to teach people things. You're trying to get them to think from another perspective. And then when they do, you're like, this is dehumanized.
And that's what's so deflating for someone that is like, you've been trying so hard to get this to the mainstream and get someone to take notice. They do. And then instead of just, did he do it in the perfect way according to you? I'm sure he didn't, obviously, according to you.
Yeah.
But he did a great thing for your agenda. And so at a certain point, like you said with the battles, pick your battles. You just got a big win.
Yeah.
Take the win. Because then as soon as you start, and a credit to Trevor Noah if he doesn't, but if I was Trevor Noah in that situation, and that's a response I got from like that community, I don't want to say she speaks for the whole community.
Right.
But she's obviously kind of like a known figure in that area. And I would be like, well, you know what? Fuck you. Like, I was out here you just made me wish I didn't do that now.
Right.
And I know you shouldn't think that way. I'm not saying that's the right way to think, but it's just human nature. And it's like, to use the strong language, like it's dehumanizing.
Right.
Like, come on. Even if you feel the need to pick that battle, make it clear like that it's not the end of the world. It's actually like you did a good thing. If I had to make a tweak, it's like getting a 98% on a test instead of 100. Like you did really, really good. If I had to make a tweak, here's what it would be. But to say it's dehumanizing is like, wow. Like,
that's what drove me crazy about that in particular. And like I said, maybe she misspoke too. I don't know.
True.
However, this dude didn't maybe touch on all the points that you wanted, but he means it in a good way. You can't always think about, so finally this person agrees, or these people agree that maybe a disabled actor should have played it. What else can I get pissed about and try and put somebody on blast for?
unfortunately, man, it speaks to today's climate where people want to be outraged.
Yeah, they're looking for arguments.
Yeah. Like, I have this movement I've been pushing for. Finally, we got a big win. What's the next thing I can be outraged about?
Yeah.
Oh, this wasn't perfect.
Bring up like the third tweet.
This one?
No, keep going. This one. Your aha moment is, oh, disabled people are diverse. Oh, disabled actors exist. Oh, this blah, 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 on and on. No, that's not his aha moment, and I can bet you that. His aha moment is, maybe don't have a lot of experience with disabled people. This guy, and I want to tell this story real quick because this is like the perfect example from a able-bodied person to a disabled person. And this happens all the time to me. He's my tattoo artist. His name's Levi. And he said one time this disabled person got super pissed at him because he was like looking at him, you know, unknowingly, just kind of like staring, basically. And I said, yeah, that does get annoying. Like, people are always staring at my lift on my shoe, or I'm walking with a limp and they're constantly staring at me when I walk through the mall or whatever. But he said to me, he said, well, I don't know what happened to you. I don't know your story. It's different looking. And somebody like me, I get pissed about a lot of shit. I could have been like, well, yeah, fuck you. Like,
You don't know my story.
you don't know my story. Like, back the fuck up. But I chose this time, for whatever reason, to be like, wow, that makes a lot of sense to me. You may have never known anybody else like this. You aren't being mean on purpose by staring at my shoe. You aren't purposely being a dick. And you can tell when people are. But you are genuinely just looking at somebody, maybe trying to, and if the opportunity came about, maybe he would have asked and said. And that's just stuck with me for ever since he said that, because and now when people are staring at me, for the most part, I think about that and I'm like, they don't know. It's not their fault that this shit happened to me. They don't know, whatever. So you just let it go. And if they want to talk about it, you can talk about it. Maybe they're going through something with a family member or a friend or something that they're going to have to start getting these looks because things are changing, because they got cancer or this happened to them or whatever. And for people to just fucking understand both sides of the story.
It's a good point too, because we talked about it with a different situation on the podcast a couple weeks ago of, you got to just stop trying to find the bad.
Exactly.
Like, people actually probably rarely have the worst of intentions.
And that's what you'd hope. And if they do, oftentimes it shows itself.
Yeah.
From my experience.
And it's the same, like, we're critiquing her tweets. It's not to say she has bad intentions. I'm sure all of her intentions are good, but the reason we're critiquing it is because her tweets are counterproductive to her movement.
Her cause,
to her cause. And
exactly.
I mean,
and it's my cause too. You know what I'm saying? Right. And that's what starts to get under my skin a little bit, is like, you want this and that out of this movement, and you're not willing to accept somebody changing their views because of something that essentially you had a help in doing, which is raising awareness for disabled actors.
Right.
Isn't that the point?
You can't.
Yeah,
it is.
Exactly. That's literally the point. And I mean, like I said, this could go 100 different directions, but you have to think about other people. That director is booking Bryon Cranston for a reason.
Right.
This dude is making his movie huge.
Right.
This dude has a family and people to feed too.
There are so many other factors.
There's other factors. And that's not to say that maybe, exactly like Trevor Noah said, maybe next time if a role comes up, now their awareness has been raised toward this, to check this out. Because there are probably great actors that are disabled. Right. There's great fucking athletes that are disabled.
Yeah.
I'm playing beach volleyball in one barefoot and one shoe with a lift on it.
Yeah.
People are always staring, doing this and that. And that shit doesn't bother me. You know, what bothers me is when somebody's talking shit without knowing the backstory.
Right.
Well, like you guys said, an obvious factor is the people making this movie, the director, the casting, the whatever, producer. They're trying to make money on this movie, right?
Yeah.
Whatever. Bryon Cranston, yeah, you're paying him more than this other guy probably, but he's also a way bigger draw, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it might just be as simple as that, and that's an obvious factor. There's also, and this is why I think it's important to point out this woman's tweets and why they're counterproductive and why people need to stop looking for things to be outraged about and stuff when something good is happening for your causes. Let me give you an uncomfortable situation, but it's real. Okay, now because she does that, your average Joe Schmo who we're talking about who hasn't had maybe this aha moment yet, who hasn't come into contact with disabled people and can't relate, right? You see this shit going on, and you see the Trevor Noah thing, and then you see the reaction like that. Okay, you're a director. You might be a little scared of like, okay, I get a disabled person to play this role. Can I direct them the same way I can someone that's not disabled? If I want to ask them to do something and they can't physically, are they gonna get offended? Are they gonna be outraged at me? Do I have to like be careful about this, or can I just? It's counterproductive as far as like a disabled person deserves to be treated just like someone that's not disabled.
That's first grade shit to me.
I would hope though,
like,
and I would hope though in that situation, if you are a director for a movie and you are casting disabled people, you would know their what they can and can't do
to an extent, for sure.
Right.
But also,
at least
it's
what
like
you need for your movie.
Like
you would let them know. I feel like they would know beforehand. In this role, you have to do this, do that,
right.
do this.
But I'm saying in the course of filming a movie, like there's just certain little things you might be like, hey, can you like?
Yeah,
can you do this?
Filming a movie is complicated.
Like you don't know what's gonna come up.
Yeah.
Like and it based off of this, like normally you'd be like, oh come on, that's far fetched. But to me, it would be far fetched for someone like this woman to tweet these things after Trevor Noah just vouched. So it's I don't know. It's just kind of like, to me, it's an uncomfortable thing to think about, and it's just so counterproductive to somebody's cause.
Well,
like,
I just feel like a lot of people forget that being an actor is just another job. So the bottom line is these directors and things like that, they're working with the same people a lot because they know that they're easy to work with, just like somebody else would be more likely to hire their friend or something like that because they are easier for them to work with. It doesn't necessarily mean that like one is more qualified than the other. It's just kind of like, I'm able to deal with this person's quirks more so than I am willing to even attempt to deal with somebody else that I don't know.
That's true.
and that's why what Trevor Noah did was cool, because it's like there is definitely an aspect of that that's like, yeah, didn't think of it that way, and he did it in a way, and same with the actor that wrote whatever article he read, they did it in a way that wasn't putting down the other side. Exactly. It was just like, here's something to think about.
Yeah, and it keeps coming back to what we were talking about before we even started this conversation, is just see both sides of an argument. You know, like she could have put that better in those tweets and not maybe gone with the dehumanizing and like the aha moment was this and that, because I don't believe that's true. And if Trevor Noah at some point proves that shit to be true, then I'll meet this lady for lunch and whatever. You know what I'm saying? But it's not.
We're not taking.
We got to start thinking about both sides of things a little bit more. And everybody says things maybe not 100% perfect. I'm sure I haven't said things 100% perfect throughout this conversation. But the whole thing about disabled people is we want to be treated just like everybody else. And so when we don't get a part or we have trials and tribulations, that's the same as any able-bodied person has had to a different extent. And I always think about Shaquem Griffin a lot because this dude's in the NFL with one hand, which to my knowledge has not happened or even been close for any other person. But I doubt this dude was going into football practice like, shit, coach, you didn't play me because this dude was really good this game. I bet he got his ass to the weight room after that, and he was all pissed off like I was when I couldn't play shit, and he went and just busted his ass a little bit harder. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's more people need to go that direction than going on Twitter to talk about shit and bitch about things. They need to be like, what the fuck can I do to improve my craft so that next time this comes around, I'm getting that part.
Yeah.
Well, that makes me think about why, like, the person itself. If you have a movement and you say your fist movement, and then we all see, like, you get this victory in the sense, like, you know, not like a big victory, but any victory is a fucking victory, period.
Yeah.
But you get a victory in the sense of Trevor Noah, the host of The Daily Show, went on this shit. Well, it was on Instagram, but he went on this shit and, like, was like, I didn't look at it like this, and now I do.
He said he was wrong.
And then after you get that win and you still don't accept that, then I look at the person. I'm like, okay, what are you trying to get out of this shit? Do you just want, like, more views? Do you just want to be talked about more?
Agreed.
Is that what you're trying to get out of this?
Dude, and that's a good point, because I do think that it tends to be just a habit with people that it's like they're not even trying to have a discussion on social media.
No.
They're literally addicted to getting reactions.
Right.
That they'll just say anything to do so.
Yep.
And I won't put her completely in that box, because I do believe I can see what she's trying to say.
Yeah, like,
I think she said it. I think she said it in the wrong way, and I think she said it at the wrong time.
Right.
Agreed.
To the wrong person. Like, but I do know there is good shit in what she's thinking and what she's trying to get across. It's just a lot of wrong things about it.
And that's, I guess that's the thing, is like what I just said, like, you don't have to put her all the way in that box, but at the same time,
There's
you
plenty
do
of
have to
people
be
that are
aware.
in that box.
Well, and you have to be aware that, like, sometimes it seeps in even just halfway. Like,
you have to ask
you're trying
the
to
question.
justify it.
If it's like, okay, I thought you were trying to, like, bring awareness to this, like any kind of, like, all the gay laws that got brought in over the past recent years, the point was to bring attention to it so that things would change. So you are bringing attention to it, hoping that things will change after that.
Right.
So once you get the attention brought to it in the right way, where it's like, damn, you're right, I didn't look at it like this, now I see what you're talking about, and you're like, no, fuck that.
Yeah.
Where it's like,
And you
I
don't-
have to be like, okay, so what are you really looking for?
Yeah, I hear
I don't
you.
know I don't know the answer, but I have to ask.
me, that's really illogical. Like, I don't
agree.
know how somebody could even think about that if they even stopped to think about it and be like, yup, I'm going to tweet this.
That's what,
Like,
that's exactly how I feel too. And that's why I did go to her YouTube page and watch some of her videos and shit, because I was like, is this just like
Right,
the
that's
controversy lady that just wants to make a headline about everything?
Right.
And it wasn't.
Right.
Like, a lot of her videos I agreed with, and she said some valuable shit in them.
Right.
So that's great.
Right.
But why sit back and think about what you're about to tweet for a minute and make it less
maybe
serious?
she did though. Maybe she did, because that's the thing with Twitter and shit like that. Although it's only 280 now, you know, 140 to 280, 0 to 280. That's all we have. That's all we have. Whatever the fuck you put out there.
Right.
So if you say something, that's what I have to
Right.
take it as.
Yeah.
I can't be like, well, I'm sure she, like, thought about it. If, you know, whoop, wop, whoop. I mean, you could, because that's like a rational person is like, well, looking for the best in someone and the best in someone's comments. But that is truly all we have. And then when you have a thread, it's like, okay, you thought about this for a second.
Yeah.
You know, you had to type it out, send it, and then type it out, send
Yeah,
more.
for
You
sure.
know,
Well,
so
how many people are actually sitting down and thinking about what they're saying and then reading it and being like, well, if I just tweak it this way, then it's going to get a little bit more of a reaction from people, even though
Exactly.
it's not like exactly what I wanted
I
to
could
say.
get this reaction out of 10 tweets, or I could make this big headline tweet.
I mean, I thought about a lot of things that I've tweeted and read over and been like, man, if I said it this way, people would get real. But I never do, because I'm not that type of a person.
Yeah.
But I can see it with a lot of people. They might have the best intentions in the world.
Yeah.
But that thought creeps in, and you either give into it or you don't.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do.
and her tweet drove you to her YouTube page.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she benefited
True,
from
yeah.
it. Just I'm not saying like that's all she wanted to do, clickbait to get
Right.
YouTube views. Like,
Yeah.
I'm saying maybe that's really how she felt. Like, that's okay. Although none of us agree with that, maybe that is how she felt. I don't know.
To be honest, I believe that probably really is how she felt.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But here's how I feel as a disabled person.
Yep,
is
I agree.
That it seems like from my experience with other disabled people, all anybody wants is to be treated like the rest of the gang and shit. And I've been treated like that since I was little because people have grown up with me through this whole process of having surgeries and cancer and all this other stuff. And it's the same shit to me. Like, why don't we just want people to like not give a shit about it? If you're this good for this part, then you're good for this part. If I'm better at basketball than you and I can perform the necessary skills to play basketball, then I get to play basketball.
Right.
And I agree that does not happen a lot because people just see people that are able to run and walk and do shit normally, and they automatically go towards that because that's what they're used to. Right. So you're raising awareness for this shit, and then you're pissed about when people see it as such. I
think that's the biggest issue for me.
That's it.
In it all is that she's doing this to an ally, someone that like actually went against the grain and did all this, and that's the person you decided to come for. It's like, obviously it's not as big of a, it's not like an exact parallel and it's not as important an issue, but it's like if I got my first big fucking magazine publication and within the article the guy said I was like, or girl said I was like a YouTube rapper, or like said something that I didn't think was like the best way of describing me. And it's not that I can't say anything about it or acknowledge it, but it's like that should be like 5% of my acknowledgement.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
And I guess it seemed to me because I remember looking at, this happened a little while ago, and I remember looking at the time and it seemed like this, she did acknowledge like, it wasn't all this. She did have a little bit of other, like, it's good that he said something, blah, blah. Like, she didn't just brush it to the side. But it was like, but let me get this whole fucking shit off.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if I got this publication or whatever, I would be like, this is super dope. Check this out. This is awesome. More people need to think this way, blah, 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 blah. Like I said with the 98, 100% thing. If I could make a little tweak to it, I would say this. But otherwise, great fucking
But
post.
more than likely, if we're being real, I don't, like, if we're using that example, I don't see you saying anything about that.
No, but it's like I said, it's not a perfect parallel. Like if someone said that, frat rapper, but I might say something on Twitter like, not a frat rapper, but this is dope. Go check out this article, blah, blah, blah. And I would talk about like 95 other things about how this shit was dope that I got this look.
Yes.
Yeah, and but I think it actually is a good parallel because, dude, you got the win.
No, I know.
Like, why do you even have to say anything?
You don't have to, but I'm not. But that's why I gave that example. Is you're okay to say something if you want to. Like if that's how you feel.
Fine.
Like someone's talking about something that's important to you.
I think it takes away from your win though, as far as like.
No, it does. It does a little bit, but like I said, we don't. She knows that shit more than I do.
That's fine.
And if this obviously meant something to her, like, okay, say it. Like, point out that this wasn't perfect and there's this, but don't let that be the overriding feeling that you have.
Right. That's the thing. Once again, acknowledge both sides of a situation, and you should feel happy about that. You should feel accomplished in that. Maybe you weren't the one that spoke to Trevor Noah to get him to say that, but you were playing a part in that shit.
Yeah. Right. And like we say at the end of a lot of our shit like this, which I think is good, I'm sure that wasn't her intention. I'm sure she is happy that it got brought to light and she just had something else she wanted to get off her chest, and that's just how it came around. But I do think it's important to point out that it's counterproductive for people in general to do that. And like that can apply to lots of areas. And when good shit happens to people, or you get an ally or something like that, and you just use that to be outraged about something else, is not a good thing.
That's why I always come back to athletes in general. They just have a different mindset on things, and that's just who I've been around forever. So I'm not saying that that's wrong to think the other way, but it's just hard for me to like wrap my head around sometimes taking that side of the story rather than be like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'm retweeting this shit because he just said exactly what a lot of other reporters and shit should be saying. And he said it in a mild-mannered way where you don't feel like, all right, fuck.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what's crazy about it. And like, I think we've beat it to death and we can move on. But that's what's so nuts about it is you watch the Trevor Noah shit and it's like, he was very like empathetic, like understanding, mild mannered.
So normally he's just
yeah
ripping on shit.
Yeah, shit could have come off abrasive from someone else, and then okay, maybe you want to. But this was just very like.
It's funny when you guys sent me that link. I don't even really like Trevor Noah.
I don't either.
And I was like, oh, here we go, another thing that I'm gonna be like real.
No,
pissed
that was what
about
I
that
said.
Trevor Noah fucking said.
Mm-hmm.
But it was the opposite.
Yeah.
And then when I read all the tweets afterwards, I was like, dude, am I just like.
Well, that's what makes you feel like you're living in the fucking upside down, bro. Is that like it was like the double outrage, bro. Like I get the eye roll and shit like that when I assumed it was like you did. Trevor Noah is going to talk about how Bryon Cranston shouldn't have played this role of a disabled person, and I'm going to have to be pissed that we're now mad at actors for acting like something they're not.
Right.
And I was like, I was all ready to be pissed about that.
Like in everyday life, nonstop, I'm always like, am I the weird one here?
Yeah.
The other day, road rage incident of the week, I was driving, there's a 2-lane road that splits my neighborhood. There's a person coming this way. I'm going this way. She's at the stop sign. And I'm clicking my truck out of 4-wheel drive. So you just have to kind of like coast for a second. And so I'm taking forever to get up there. And I'm like, oh, all right. So I hurry up because I think she wants to turn left in my direction. And I drive past her and I look at her and she gives me a dirty ass look and then turns right. Like, bitch, you could turn right anytime you wanted. Don't give me a dirty look. Am I the dumbass here?
Yo, I fucking like, when we got home from Columbus.
Yeah.
And you were parked at the office. We both got in our whips and going our separate
10
ways.
feet of ice.
And I think I talked about this area last time we talked about shit when I was going to get a hot pie. And but you pull out, you take a left out of our engines and then a right where it merges there from the highway. And keep in mind, this is a shitty ass day of weather, like snow, fucking cold as shit.
Yeah.
So this person is flying off the highway up here, and I'm merging on, and I got to get all the way to the left. It's a red light, so everyone's stopped ahead of us. And this person's coming off the highway, and I had plenty of time. I'm not going fast, but I had plenty of time. And I get into the middle lane in front of them, but not like cutting them off. But they're fucking flying, and then they swerve over to the left, lay on their fucking horn in the left lane. I'm like, oh my God. And then they end up going past me, cutting back in front of me.
Yeah.
I lay on my fucking horn and get over to the left lane where I needed to be. They just stopped their vehicle, fucking roll down their window, and like try to yell some shit that I couldn't even hear. And then they end up getting all the way over to the right and taking a right.
Yeah.
So all they could have done is just get behind me and go to the right and move on with your fucking day, dude.
Exactly.
I want the smoke.
Oh my God, bro.
Dude.
If people are nuts.
People are insane.
Just in some minivan. Like you probably had your kids in the back seat. Like you fucking loser.
People don't care. That's why I say the devil is in your vehicle.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking,
I was pissed at that moment too from our fucking trip. I was like, I'm not in the mood for this shit, bro. I will fight you.
Yo, be careful. That get.
Oh, I know.
Yo, 2 quick points though before we get off this topic. I know we beat the shit out of it. 1, I was thinking about all the movies that I've seen with disabled people in them. Like one of my favorite movies of all time. Yeah, like Remember the Titans when Gary got in that car accident.
Gary, Bert
Tears,
mama.
Attitude replaces leadership, Captain.
Great movie.
Yeah,
greatest movie of all time.
And just all the movies, like Rudy, Rudy, Ray, and Radio. Those are the 3 that came off the top of my head.
A lot of R's.
A whole lot of alliteration. And
Ray Charles.
Yeah, with Jamie.
Yeah,
that is more to the point of. Jamie Foxx is super popular and he's gonna make a bunch of money. B, he can do this better than anyone.
Yes,
anyone. But something like Goldmember, like Beyonce. I love Beyonce, but I think she is a horrible actress. Really, I don't know why. Man. Everything I've ever seen her in, I hate it.
You don't know why? Because she sucks.
Well, she's good at everything else.
But bro, that's a whole nother reason to look at the whole like getting these names. Look at how our society puts celebrities on a pedestal and will do anything for fucking celebrity.
Yeah.
Why the hell would a casting person not get a celebrity in their movie instead of someone that nobody knows?
See, and that's
Even if the celebrity
Great point.
sucks, you're gonna generate money because people just want to.
Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
Kevin Hart is in the movie because he is popping, not because he's like actor of the year.
Actor, yeah.
Dude, Denzel would have been in there.
And if Bryon Cranston was in that movie and he sucked and he was shitty at it, and everyone was like, wow, this movie was the fucking worst movie ever, then yeah, it's like, oh, damn. Well, in hindsight, it would have been a really great idea to give this to somebody who is at least better than Bryon Cranston.
And you get your win then. And
Exactly.
then if he's dope and the movie generates a bunch of money or whatever, then you can't blame anybody.
No,
Right.
you can't.
They did what they needed to do.
Second point. As an able-bodied person, and it's probably from me just being Dags being my dude since we were fucking weed men. But
Weed man?
no, before that. Yo, it like you were saying earlier, how people don't know the story, so you can't expect them to like understand. But like my thing is, you don't need to know someone's fucking story to like you know respect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know it's disrespectful to stare. Period.
Yeah.
Right.
What like at anyone.
Facts.
Right.
You're taught that at a young age.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you see someone different than you, like kids do it because kids
They don't know
know.
anything.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
But when you're a fucking grown ass adult, you know that it's not polite. But some people don't give a fuck. But
And it's
you
kind of
don't
what we talked
stare at
about.
people.
It's kind of what we talked about before, which I don't know the answer of. Yeah, I know. I didn't really like. I don't think I knew anybody in a wheelchair at a young age, but I also knew not to stare at people in wheelchairs.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of talked about it on another podcast. Do people know that they shouldn't do that,
no,
or are they, or do they just not give a fuck?
maybe both.
Probably some of both.
Because-
but I do. There probably are some people that literally just weren't fucking raised right with the right manners and
Yeah.
just don't.
Their parents do the
just
same
don't know.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as the disabled person in this conversation, to speak on that, these people's parents might not have been, especially the parents, probably weren't around disabled people because people weren't disabled back then because they didn't treat shit. You know, so they probably didn't learn that. I would think, hopefully, more and more, the farther on we move, more and more people will be learning this shit because it's more and more common.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like I said, I was the first person walking through the mall to have somebody staring at me, be like, what the fuck is your problem?
And bro,
And say it out loud to them. But partly just getting older and not being as much of a douche as I was when I was younger, and partly learning the other side of people's whatever thoughts and what they're thinking and how they're thinking. Like what I said, when Levi told me that shit, it's like, damn. Like,
And also,
that makes sense.
sometimes though,
Like, that makes sense to me.
I worked with a dude. Shout out to my dude Humphrey, who he went to Okemos, and they were on their way to a U of M MSU game in Ann Arbor. It was like him and 3 or 4 of his friends, I'm not sure. They got in a car accident. Everyone died but him.
Yeah.
And he got his left arm was like shredded from like the wrist to his freaking shoulder. And that was something where, like, okay, you don't know the story, but like, although you may want clarity as a person who doesn't know, and you're like, I'm not trying to be rude, like, I'm staring, but I want to know what happened. Like, you ask him what happens, and he fucking breaks down. Like,
Yeah, it's not
you
your-
don't know.
it's not
It's
your
none of your
business.
business. That's
It's
the
not.
thing.
Yeah.
That's why you don't fucking stare at people, is because, like, mind your fucking business.
Yeah. And I think it kind of all speaks to, and why we even bring it up in the first place, really, in a nutshell, is like, we need to be supporting people that have the aha moments.
Exactly.
That needs to be a good thing, because it
That's
is
an
a
ally.
good thing.
That
Like,
is an
yeah,
ally,
we
for
talked
sure.
about it the other day, I think, after the podcast of, dude, you learn through experience. It's the best. It's the best way to. Some people were raised better than others. Some people were raised differently than others. Some people know things that other people don't. Bottom line, you learn through experience, and that's why cancel culture is a problem. That's why putting down people that have these aha moments is bad. Because, dude, how are you ever supposed to learn if you don't allow people to learn?
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, I knew the basic, don't stare at a person in a wheelchair, right? I knew who you were before we became friends. I knew you had this disability. I didn't realize some of the things I realize now being your friend and seeing you every day. Like, even the fact of today we can walk through the mall or whatever, and you'll tell me 7 different times, this motherfucker's staring at my foot.
Yeah.
I don't notice a single one of them.
Right.
Is it because I don't care? No. Is it because no? It's like I don't live it, bro. So if I have this aha moment of damn, every time Dax fucking goes out in public, he's got people fucking looking at his damn foot. Like until I experience that, that's not something I'm thinking about.
Right, exactly.
But that's a good thing to realize and have empathy for somebody.
Exactly.
Like that's
and
a good
thing. You probably learned things through me.
Yeah,
yo, that's what I was gonna say.
You never thought you.
I think about that shit just from him.
Yeah,
like, before. I mean,
and that's good.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm like sitting here like on the other side of it as an able-bodied person, like. Dude, because that shit's annoying. Yeah. It's annoying. When I'm walking with him, it's annoying. It's like, yo, what the fuck you looking at?
Yeah.
That's how motherfuckers get smoked out here, for real, looking crazy.
No, I know.
I'm not saying me.
That's how I got jumped in Panama City.
Best story ever. Dude, it is annoying, though.
Episode
and
50.
It drives me crazy and it drives every other disabled person crazy. I guarantee it. However, you can choose to do one or two things about it. And one day I might not be feeling great or whatever, and I'm like get the fuck away from me, leave me alone type shit. But most of the time I choose to give them the quick story of what happened because I don't have all fucking day to tell you everything.
Most people don't.
But, you know, just a quick little thing. And normally they're like, wow, that's awesome, dude. I'm really happy for you and blah, blah, blah. And I don't blame people for going the other direction and being like, fuck you. You don't need to know shit. That's fine too. But I mean, if you want to raise awareness like most people do and like help your cause, then you gotta deal with some of that shit.
You gotta eat that. 'Cause now that I even think about it, like literally I just heard myself a second ago, but now that I think about it, even the people that, because I've seen this shit countless times where they'll ask and then they'll be like, oh shit, like, I'm my bad, dude. I didn't mean to like.
Well, because they'll be like, you got a bum knee?
Yo, exactly.
It used to be the story.
Oh,
like,
no, this was real.
No, it used to be, man, he dunked on this dude, came down crazy. That used to be the Grand Haven fucking story.
Yeah.
Like, what's the story today when we go out? We'll tell them somebody got crossed up or something. But it makes sense. Now they're like, oh shit, like, fuck, I was kind of a dick. Yeah. Then they're like, maybe I won't stare next time. Maybe
exactly.
I won't.
That person knows something. And
I just don't know why people default to that though. It's so whacked.
That's what I was always thinking about, like back in the day. Like, are you fucking like 50 years old, or am I the dumbass here? And it's normally, and then they don't even know they're doing it. It all goes. I finally started to realize, like, oh, they don't even know that they're doing it.
When you see a fine ass girl, it's like
crazy.
Damn. I mean, you know, back in the day.
Yeah, I don't see any fine ass girls, bro.
Only when I go home.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's get off this topic. Kind of long. Let's make a transition from, you know, we're talking about celebrities putting people on a pedestal as far as like casting people in a movie.
Richard Key.
You guys see that? Oh, I know Dags didn't. Did you see the Fyre Festival shit?
I read up on it. No, not the documentaries. No.
Okay.
Hulu and Netflix.
Did you see any of them?
Yeah, I did.
Which one?
Hulu.
I saw them both.
They're different.
Yeah, like they give you the same information in like from a broad sense, but they give you a little different details and different perspectives and
break it down. Break it down. What's it about?
All right, so there's this guy Billy McFarland, and he's basically this fucking entrepreneur, con artist. Basically, and
does he have any? Sorry, already a question. Does he have any other like cons under his belt?
Well,
that they came out within this documentary.
Bootleg Family Guy.
He did this. He had this like Magnesis card. The company was Magnesis, and what he did, from the sounds of it, from what I remember, was he basically took like an average credit card, put like this black steel casing around it that made it like heavy duty, whatever. And it was called Magnesis. That was the name of his company, whatever. And it just made it look like kind of average Joe look like that, a black card type thing. It was like image shit.
He called it American Express.
And then he kind of did some shit with it, like, I don't even remember exactly, but it was like this exclusive fucking membership type thing.
He guaranteed these like membership reward type of things that never, like some of them never really came to fruition. And like,
he was known
kind of
even outside of the Magnesis thing. He was known for trying to sell like tickets to something that he didn't have.
Yeah.
And he just always try to scramble and make his scam work on the back end. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha. Okay.
Like let me make some money quickly and then figure it out.
Right.
But yeah, so long story short, I guess he linked up with Ja Rule, and I think from what I understood, he just wanted Ja Rule for like marketing tag, like just to have a rapper associated with it.
Clearly.
And they wanted to make this platform called Fyre, and it was basically to book entertainment. Okay. It was like the Uber of booking entertainment, I think is how they even described it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And that concept in and of itself wasn't that bad of an idea.
No.
Like you have big artists or whatever on this thing, and you can book them through this app somehow. And this was their idea. And somewhere along the line, they decided they wanted to throw this festival as a part of the brand to like promote it and whatever.
It was in the Bahamas, right?
Yeah, obviously this guy is super just like image oriented from everything he does.
Right.
He preys off of like people wanting this fucking image, and I think he's kind of like that himself.
Yeah.
I'm sure. It's gotta be.
Yeah, and so like I said, there's so much that goes into it, but basically with not nearly enough time, this guy tries to put this festival together in the Bahamas on some island, and he gets like his whole strategy is to basically get these Instagram, social media influencers, lots of models, things like that, on board to promote it. And it becomes this whole snowball effect of like, it got all this attention through this promotion and he guarantees all these people he's going to pay them all this money, right? They even like book these acts that they're going to pay. They're paying way more than these acts normally would get. They're just throwing money around. And this guy's able to get money from investors because he's just a fucking con artist.
Yeah.
And he's like, I guess it came out that he was forging documents and stuff saying that his business was making way more money than it was. And so he's convincing investors to invest based off these things. And there's just all these scams and shit building up,
like
right?
felonies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, is he in jail?
Well, he ended up going to jail,
Okay.
Right.
But I think only for like 6 years.
6 years.
But anyways,
White collar.
Awful.
the day of the show rolls around, and basically these groups of influencers and these people that have spent exorbitant amounts of money, like tons of money on the shit. There were villas being sold for like $250,000 and like yachts and whatever. And these things were being sold and purchased, and they didn't exist.
Wow. That's a
Right.
hustle.
And these people show up to this event because they still tried to hold it.
Yeah.
It had like this big fucking rainstorm the night before, and everything was soaked. The tents they used for like these premium tents, they were fucking like hurricane relief tents from the previous hurricane that hit, that they just put like mattresses in.
Jeez.
And it was just this fucking wasteland of white tents. There were no villas. There were no like none of this. And it was
Those
just a
are
shit
the
show.
towns.
Yeah, the shit never happened.
This is
like,
what people saw when they came to this
and these people spent loot to go to this thing.
Yeah.
But basically it didn't happen. It was a big shit show. And there's all these reasons why. But it was just crazy to see the biggest takeaway I think I had outside of like, this dude is a fucking nut. Because in the Hulu one, he actually agreed to be interviewed.
They paid him a shit ton, is what I
Did
heard.
that. And like he's a nut job.
No, like the thing that stuck out to me was there was a part of the documentary that they had him sat down and they were like, "Do you think that you're a pathological liar?"
No.
And he literally gotcha. He literally was like, you tell me one thing that I've said that isn't true, like blah blah blah. I've never like lied about any of this stuff. Like, yeah, I've made mistakes, like all this, but I've never lied about any. And then they just flash all of these things that he said in the documentary, and then refuted them with actual things that ended up happening, and literally just showed that he just doesn't know when he's lying.
Yeah, he's pathological, man. But what the craziest
It's
thing
like
to me,
insane. That shit was like the most savage shit that.
the craziest shit to me that outside of him
Yeah.
was, what are you guys laughing about?
Nothing.
Oh, I think I know what you're laughing.
Rewind.
Was just
Buy more Whoppers.
how we are so influenced by image and social media, bro.
Yeah.
Like they even in the Netflix one at the end, they were talking about that point a little bit and how there's this business in Russia or something, just some little business where they have a private jet that never leaves the ground and they have people come pay to take photos on it.
Yeah.
And it's a thriving business.
I'm sure.
It's like, you fucking losers, dude.
No, for real.
It's not about
That shit makes, bro, that shit makes me so mad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, why are we like that, dude?
I don't know. I hate that.
Celebrity worship, man.
Because, bro, I'll give in just
gram.
like the next person. Like, I'm not immune to this shit. Like, if I'm going on some cool vacation, like, there's a part of me that is, yeah, like I'll get some cool photos and shit. Like, like it's the world we live in. But there are fucking extents to this shit, bro. There's levels to this sickness.
It's a drug. It's a drug.
Yeah.
Like getting attention.
Yeah.
Is a drug.
Yeah.
Like,
especially when you haven't gotten it, then you're like, oh damn, all I gotta do is just post up like this, and people are like, damn, you got it, huh?
Yeah.
It's like, hey.
And that's why they displayed too. Like there were a lot of media and mainstream media and people in general that like had a lot of fun making fun of this situation when it happened.
Hell yeah.
Like look at all these fucking millennials just being dumbasses and getting taken.
And they weren't wrong. Like,
Right.
that's the crazy thing.
I remember
It's like,
reading
dude.
about this when it happened. There was a report that came out right after it that was saying all this stuff and gave the whole story about it. And I read about it on Twitter, and I was like, what?
These people are
It's just mind-boggling.
They're like, they'd have these people pay an absurd amount of money to go to this festival, and then when they
sure.
needed more money, bro, they had so at this festival we're gonna have like RFID wristbands or whatever that you load money on, and that's how you pay for shit. And in the email it was like, you're gonna need at least like $3,000 to do what most people want to do, but we recommend much more.
Right.
And these people just go load, like, I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that in the documentary they said there were people that loaded like up to $800,000 on these things. And the only reason they existed is because Billy was like, we need more money.
Right.
And then they just sent out this email and these dumbasses just gave them more money.
Yo.
And to their, like, in the documentary, they were saying it's not uncommon for these festivals to like have these type of bands to pay for things.
Yeah.
So everybody thought it was legit. But the wording of the email, that was like a little bit weird.
Well, the whole thing of like $3,000, but we recommend much more.
Right, but we recommend
what?
like
Yeah.
they were saying
much more.
What's the amount?
No
Yeah.
festival words anything like that.
Nah.
Like, here's a band, put your money on it. Like
Yeah.
that's pretty much it.
I'll say this: I blame the festival goers a lot less than these motherfuckers that are just being scammed.
Oh, yeah,
of course.
for sure.
That's,
You know,
yo,
like-
it kind of goes back, and we're not going to get deep anymore. I'm sorry, guys. Last week, we're talking about when people are good at fucking you, and I don't mean in the sack. I mean screwing you over in deals, taking advantage of you. God, all those ways
There's
are just
no good way to
horrible.
go
I know,
with that
isn't
one, I
crazy?
guess.
That's probably why it's all tied to sexual assault, because they're all bad shit. When people are good at scamming,
There you go.
you're fucked.
Yeah, and that's why I know I'm using strong language like these fucking dumbasses,
Like I just
whatever. Yeah, but I agree with you, Dags. Of course, this shit these people are doing is criminal, and I do feel bad for these people to an extent.
Definitely.
But there is also the
Yo.
aspect of be smart out here.
Like you said, they were getting these models and shit to advertise it on their Instagrams and shit, but wasn't the big draw that like this was an exclusive thing where you were gonna get to chill or like be around these people?
It definitely made it
also?
seem like that.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So that was another draw why people were like, oh, like we finally get to meet all these people and all this dumb shit.
There was a. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say the marketing strategy to like get everyone hyped was actually a really good. Like they got all these influencers at the same time on one day. They all just posted an orange tile on Instagram, and when you got all these fucking big influencers posting this shit, it immediately goes viral, and everyone follows to the website where they got their promotional video.
And that goes back to the lack of responsibility on social media, though, is you have all these influencers that are like, yeah, this thing's legit and everything like that, but In reality, it's just like no one knew if this was actually a real thing. There was no proof at the time.
Well, and that's what's
no
tough
one
about
had
it
been
is-
paid. No one had been done. Like there was no money that got exchanged.
Yeah. Well, one of the guys that figured out, my bad. I keep cutting you off. One of the guys that like kind of caught on at what it sounds like the earliest that this was a fraud was this guy who was like, yeah, I saw the artists that they supposedly booked and this shit looked weird. And I reached out to these artist agents who I've worked with before and said, what's going on with this? Like, have you been paid? No. Interesting you asked. We haven't been paid. And this looks weird to us too. And the amount we were offered is like double what we normally get paid at our gigs. So right away, this guy was like,
Yeah. What the fuck?
big red flag. And he said he tried to start like some Twitter account that didn't gain any traction and blah, blah, blah. But he was like, I knew this shit was bullshit for a while.
Yeah, dude.
See a fool.
That's that shit,
Play a fool.
man.
For real.
Exactly.
They're called influencers. That's their job title.
Right.
To influence the people.
Dog, I'm glad you said that because on the Hulu one, they sat some of these influencers down and these people kept talking about their brand. And they asked the question like, what is your brand? Like, how would you describe your brand? And all they really say is like, you know, like positivity and like health.
Yeah, that's Instagram, dog.
Yeah, it's like, bro,
Yo, they
those
kind
are
of
great
like
things.
low key clown these like influencers without actually like coming out and saying.
I wanted to watch it. I just haven't got around to it yet. But
and it's like I'll be willing to say I'm sure they can chop that up however they want. Like maybe they also in addition gave some decent answers, but I can see that. Because that's what I see on a daily basis on Instagram. It's just this fucking facade, dude.
You can put the puzzle pieces together. Like that's exactly what these people are.
And it's so tough, man, because I'm down with business. Like, get your money. Like, if that's what's selling and these people are able to make a living on Instagram based off promoting this, and they're promoting positivity and health, whatever, do you. You're not doing any harm, except you kind of are in this situation. But people have to take personal responsibility, too. Like, do you put all your trust in what this fucking social media influencer is saying?
That's more what it is to me. Because I'm not trying to be an influencer for one thing necessarily, but, like, I post workout videos on my Instagram all the time, but that's because I like fucking doing that shit. You know, I feel like there's a large number of the health and fitness industry on Instagram in particular that is posting workout videos and then they're like smoking cigarettes right after and like, you know, doing all that shit. And it's just like, that's fine, but stop trying to fool people into thinking that you're an influence.
Well, bro, and that's why reputations are so important, is because whether it's any type of public figure, you continuously, every day, you are establishing a reputation, whether you think about it or not. And so when it comes time to advertise something, promote something, ask for something, any of that, what's your reputation to that point?
Yeah.
Have you screwed people over before? Have you done have you done some shady shit before? Like all this type of shit. And that's why reputation is important.
Right.
Like you said, not to get back into it, but that's why we protected our reputation last week. Like the more you are known for whack shit or whatever, the less people would trust you.
Right.
Exactly.
And that's not good for you. And so that's the thing. Like, I'm sure some of these influencers were trustworthy people as far as like their reputation they had built. Like Kendall Jenner was one of them, dude.
Yeah.
And I know they're very meticulous about the shit they do. I'm sure like they have regrets about it, whatever. But I think they said she got paid like $250,000 to make one post.
Yeah.
Yo, I just saw,
and it's not uncommon.
I think it was Amber Rose getting like $2 million on just Instagram.
And that's what's crazy to talk about is like, bro, I can sit here and preach all I want. If someone said, hey, here's $2 million to make this Instagram post.
Yeah, for sure.
Am I going to for sure go do my due diligence? Like I might a little bit, but then if it's like, well, this looks like they really want to do, and they did, I do think they really wanted to pull this off. Yeah. I don't think it was like, we're going to take everybody's money and take everyone for a ride and then skate. I think they wanted to pull it off. It was completely unfeasible, but they did want to pull it off. And so if you're one of those early influencers, like early on, before, like you still had months to go before this shit happened, and they asked you to do this and we're going to give you $250,000 or something, like it's easy for me to say no now in hindsight, seeing the documentary and all this shit. At that moment,
But I think that's the problem though. Is like, where's the responsibility? Like, where's the sense of responsibility with everybody?
Yeah.
Like, dude, you can't just say like, it's just social media, man. Like, whatever. Like, people can figure it out because a lot of people can't figure it out. Yeah. You're the person they look to figure it out. Like, we don't have the access that these people do. Yeah. How are we supposed to know? There has to be some sort of like trust that is associated with something like this, or what the hell are we?
Well, like, not to mention that's why like people could make fun of it with this situation, because these people that were getting taken for a ride are supposedly social media savvy. Like, these influencers themselves and stuff are people that are attending this event.
Right. Yeah.
But it goes to show you too, like, dude, this dude got out on bail after all this shit went down. Got out on bail, started scamming again. Well, got somebody else, one of his friends, to start calling and sending emails to people selling tickets for exclusive events like the Masters, the Met Gala, the Grammys, stuff that they don't sell tickets for like that. And they got people to bite to the point of making like 6 figures, and he got caught. But it was like, bro, this dude is just, and it goes to show you that there are people out there that can be taken advantage of with this shit. And that's why it's wrong, man.
Bro,
like,
every day I work in the technology industry. That's what the hack jobs are based on. Phishing, like, click on this. It looks almost exactly like the real ad.
Yeah.
But when you click on it, like, I got all your information.
That's the crazy thing about
it happens in a number of ways.
You're exactly right. And that's why I laugh at, like, my wife, she's like super paranoid about, people breaking into the house and getting hacked and like things like that. And I'm like, you don't realize the percentage of people that get hacked are the people. It's not that people are over here fucking hard coding your computer and like trying to break into your shit. They're literally just like, click on this picture. Let's see if you're a dumbass. Right. Like, that's pretty much it. Right. And that's easy to protect yourself against if you're us.
Exactly. You might get 1 out of 1,000, but you're sending that shit out to 100 million people.
Exactly.
You know,
and bro, then you think about old people. Like, bro, we grew up with computers and shit like that, and,
they don't know
people
anybody.
Our age still get taken advantage of with that shit.
On
like,
straight the phone.
Yeah.
Just like
God forbid that shit never happens to me. I feel like, you guys would laugh at this, but I feel like I'm relatively technologically savvy. But bro, that shit can happen to us and our peers. Imagine some adult that isn't experienced with computers,
think
doesn't
about,
fucking
like, when,
do that shit.
Like AOL was first popping and shit. When those pop-ups came up, it was just like, oh shit, I can win 10 grand by clicking here. Shit,
right.
You don't
you get it all the
that.
time, and that's the thing. It's no skin off their back, like you said, to send that shit to 1 million people and maybe one bites.
Exactly.
They got one then.
That's like being on the corner, yo.
Yeah,
3,000 more times.
If you don't need it, it's like if I stand out here all day and somebody gives me $20 or something, it's like, boom, it's worth
$20 I didn't have.
Yeah, I didn't have to do shit for it.
Especially when you're talking about sending out an email, like. Okay, I just send it to another person.
And the people that do this shit are so smart.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you said, that guy got right out and got people to instantly start buying back into this dumbass shit. And it's the same. These tech people are even better than this dude is. They can have all this shit figured out, so they hit one button and it goes to everyone.
At gas stations and shit.
The
credit card
scammer,
in the listen to
bro, there's some people that are just master manipulators too, man, and that's what it's weird because
put your energy towards something else, and you could also
exactly, bro. Like you are a talented salesman and shit like that. Yeah. Like if you did it in the right way,
but it's easier. It's faster.
It's faster.
It's like
it's faster.
Just, there will always be, as long as there are people to be manipulated, which that is forever going to be the case. Yeah. There will always be people to manipulate.
Hell yeah.
I know. It is sad.
It's
though,
a dog-eat-dog
you
world,
could hear
man.
in these documentaries people talking him up like, yeah, he could convince you to do anything and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I believe it. And it's too bad that this dude doesn't use that fucking talent for something good. And he just uses it to scam
probably really
people.
could set something up like that.
Yeah.
But it probably wouldn't get him a yacht overnight.
Right.
Exactly.
He'd have to wait on it.
Probably not Jay-Z. He knows better. But
you can't just let it go.
It's too tough being responsible. Like, that's the thing. Like, people can make these promises and everything like that, but when it comes to following through, That's the tough part. So it's you become the most popular person in the world if all you have to do is make promises.
Yeah.
But if you don't follow through, then what are you?
Well,
You're just a liar.
We could go
president.
like we could be. You don't have to be an amazing salesman to go sell fake tickets to the Met Gala.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
For real.
Yeah,
we could walk out the door today and be like, pretend we have 4 tickets to the Masters. I bet we could sell those things.
Well, anybody who walks in
those
like
fake
any
tickets.
business, they're like, that's why no soliciting signs are everywhere.
Yeah.
Because people are paid to convince you to purchase their shit.
Yeah.
Whether it works or not.
Right.
It just reminded me of the first time I found out what soliciting meant. I had to go door to door like as a little kid to sell these little like, I think they were Little Caesars pizza kits or something like that.
Those frozen.
And I was a little kid just
Yeah.
walking around the neighborhood doing
terrible.
that shit, and somebody had a no soliciting sign on the door, and I didn't know what it meant, and I knocked, and they just fucking bitched me out. I was a little kid, man. They didn't give a fuck. No soliciting. Okay, but do you want to buy this pizza?
That's hilarious.
Yo, they did you a favor. Look at you.
But you know what? I learned through experience.
Exactly.
You know?
Fuck me.
They taught you.
Yeah, I know what
Words
soliciting
are
means
important.
now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Words are important.
Yeah.
Read the email.
Well, for those that don't know, we've been in here for about 6 hours now. So
Feels like
it might be
more.
about
Has it
time.
been that long?
It's better than the bus trip. Shit.
Oh my god, man.
Hate to keep going back to it, but Jared had his glove on. He stuck his hand through the space in the door.
Was that open?
It was that open.
His hand with the glove on, yeah.
with the glove on.
It was
What?
It was
Is
freezing.
it broke?
It doesn't just.
It just doesn't shut all
close
the way. It doesn't
yeah.
seal.
And when it's negative 17 and you're going
Yeah.
60 miles an hour
we literally had
with no
That's
heat.
terrible.
sweatshirt, winter coat, beanie, hoodie, blanket, and we're still freezing our dicks
Our
off.
toes.
Yeah,
That was the worst.
yeah,
Yep.
When your
Okay.
feet is cold, it's over.
yeah. But we got through it, man.
Yeah, praise
First
the
world
Lord.
problems.
Straight up.
That's fact.
Made it.
How long has this podcast been since we've been in this room for so long?
It's so hard to tell. I want to bet like an hour and a half, probably.
Hour and a half, my ass.
That's what I would think.
What?
You guys got what do you think it is?
I believe
Longer or
I
shorter?
say longer.
Well, we've been in here for a while.
No.
I
We've
thought
been.
that's what he was
I'm
asking.
talking about
I
the
thought that's what
total.
you were asking.
No.
Yeah.
The total length of the
Oh,
podcast.
really? You don't think it? Oh, so you think it's been a lot shorter?
No, I
Like
think
the
that
whole episode?
podcast is an hour and a half.
Yeah.
We've been in here.
You
a
guys
lot
got any
longer.
more? You
We've
guys
been
got any
here all
more
day.
topics you want to get to before we call it a
I got a topic.
call it a night?
What?
Yo, what?
Any topics, you guys?
I want to know why you insist on using iPhone things in our group text message when one of us is an Android user.
That's real.
That's all right. He's
Oh,
very
is that
honest.
what that was?
Yeah.
What?
When I sent that emoji and you were like something about an Android user?
No.
No.
It's when you
like
hold down and click like or like ha
Oh, yeah,
or whatever.
then
yeah.
it
It's like,
sends to everybody else liked, and then in quotations like blah 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 because the Android doesn't have that feature.
Wait, what does it send?
it
It
says
says
like Packy like,
liked.
and then it has in quotations whatever was
Oh,
said.
the whole message?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm going to keep doing that.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
That shit is wild.
I will never be
shit is
team
so loud.
iPhone ever. I don't give a fuck.
Why?
Cause it's just bougie, man. I don't like that shit.
Why?
It started on Twitter. # Team iPhone.
Is there any calls or are we losing?
Oh, that's true. You were tweeting out for people.
Yeah,
that,
we got a couple voicemails if that's what we want to do.
any good ones?
More than 3?
Are they all
We got a
like,
couple good ones.
Hey, Packy,
Maybe 2 good
what's
ones.
your favorite day to take a walk around the bar?
That would be Wednesday.
Here's the first one.
Hey, Q, Dags, Moe-T
Next.
and Packy. This
Hey.
is Nathan from Rockford,
What up?
Illinois.
What's happening,
And this is kind of a two-part question, or not two-part, but 2 separate questions.
baby? We got the time.
First question is, should we expect any features of Q or Dags in any songs this year? And my other question is, have you ever done, or has Katie, your guys' sister, or Glow
Have you ever done it?
ever
Stop.
made any music with you guys, featured, or have you ever considered including them in any of your songs?
I'll tell you this.
I think that'd be pretty cool.
It's not done.
But yeah, keep up the podcast, keep up the work. I like the new setup. I found it. Those 2 hours went super fast last week,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
That's what she says.
I like as I said, I like you guys the way that you're doing it, and I like that you guys are thinking out for us. So,
hell yeah!
thanks again for all you guys do.
Love it,
and have a good week.
Great call. Love when we're doing good shit.
I'll tell you this: I'll never get on a song if Packy ever has Katie or Gloria on a song.
You and not alone.
Trust me,
I am here with you.
Trust me, Katie's asked.
Yo,
Yeah, I know.
she should be on a song.
No.
And every time I say, I don't think so.
Every time I say,
That's Will. What up, Katie? That's the shorty.
Katie says she wants to get on a track, and I say,
Rich the kid.
Where'd you get you to sleep on my couch? Yeah, hell yeah, man. What?
you might. I mean, you could hear Katie going to skit. You'll never hear him on a record.
Nah, I ain't talking about them. I'm talking about us, man. Hell yeah, man. Forget them. We gonna be in here.
Yeah. We actually were just talking the other week about some music shit.
Can't tell what we was talking about, but we was talking about some music shit.
Talking about that new Future.
Ooh.
And I'm not talking about the rapper. Quickly, what do you think about Future's new shit?
Fire.
I didn't even listen to it.
Dags is a Future fan.
Yeah.
So you're not a fan yet?
Actually, took me a while to figure that out.
Took me some time in the future to figure that out.
Damn, I'm on a roll. Next voicemail. This shit's getting loopy in here.
It's Alexander from Birmingham, Alabama.
Most loyal caller.
205.
My question is,
205.
what is one thing that you guys would wish you would have done, or one thing you wish you wanted to have done in college? For me, one thing that I wish I did was take more online classes, because I'm taking all online classes right now.
And it's the shit.
It's all great. I don't have to waste a good portion of my day just going to class for like an hour, when, you know, I could push it all to a certain day where I'm not working and get all that done, or, you know, get ahead in class.
He's not done.
I feel you.
He's not done.
Yeah. Anyway, keep up the podcast. Loving it. And see you guys later.
Yo, Alexander, my middle name. Hey, what up?
Thanks, Alexander.
What's poppin'?
You know what, Alexander?
Birmingham, where my mom
Dax,
is
you got some
from. What
shit to
up?
get off your chest?
I'm not a great student.
Yo, I agree.
At all.
I'm not a great student.
I'm not a great student.
So online classes
Next
for me,
question.
I don't think I've ever passed an online class. Ever.
It's definitely like personal. If
So
you were,
fucking hard for me.
For certain
I have
classes,
to
that
be-
shit's tough.
It's super hard.
I'm like him. If
for
I'm
like
at the crib,
math or something, it's impossible for me. 'Cause
I would
I'll
never
suck
take
at
a math class.
Because you need to
online.
actually be taught.
Yeah,
Ever.
but for two, I'd
ain't doing
rather
it.
go sit in a room for an hour and listen to somebody just talk about this, and I'm just there and I'm paying attention. They're teaching me what I need to learn, and then once I'm out of there, it's like whatever.
Yeah.
I'd rather not have to. It's really hard for me to sit there and be like, I have to make myself study this shit.
Tell me if this is a good parallel. Having a personal trainer as opposed to just going to the gym.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Like when you
totally-
have an hour set aside to go train with somebody else that's going to show you the ropes and tell you
Maybe-
what to do
yeah.
and hold
Maybe
you
like
accountable.
watching a video compared to like actually having a trainer
There with
like,
you.
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I agree. I feel that. And
so what about regret though?
his whole question is definitely very like personal. It's not like you can't give a blanket
no.
statement that's good for everyone,
Absolutely.
because honestly, and I would never like, I'm not making this a suggestion to other people, but my biggest regret at this point is probably going to at least a university, if not college, period, for me. Because,
Dude,
bro,
I was
I'm,
literally just gonna say my biggest regret is probably so far not graduating college.
okay. Yeah, I mean,
That's real.
and that's the thing, and
So
mine
it's
is.
the opposite, yeah.
Yeah, but right now, like,
Yeah.
because I've been doing music ever since I left, and it's like, if I would have put that money and that time
Yeah.
Into the music.
into my music,
Yeah.
who knows how much further along I'd be.
Right.
But at the same time, if this shit all falls apart, like, I'll probably be happy I got my degree.
Yeah.
For sure.
But I'm very, and we've talked about this on a previous podcast, I am very, like, anti
Regret.
4-year university do all the fucking classes, get all the extra. Like, we need to be pushing kids way more toward like vocations and fucking like specialties.
Agreed.
This is what you're good at and this is what you want to do.
Definitely
Learn
agree.
everything about that shit, not at the most expensive school you possibly can, and fucking go work and get experience and get good at it.
I feel like we're burning kids
dude,
out at universities.
I cannot
Getting paid,
explain
though.
the fact that I
Hell
paid
yeah.
good money.
Too much money.
I wanted to be in business, and I paid good money to take a class on insects because I had to.
Right.
Right.
That's
Bullshit.
fucking dumb.
Yeah, I hate that shit. That part of school is the worst. And I
hustle,
100% agree. The direction of apprenticeships and things like that are
They need
super
that.
dope.
Yeah. They need to be
Because
more
I've
common.
done those things, and I feel I have a personal trainer certification, I have a nutrition certification, I have a music certification, I have Pro Tools certifications. I have certifications in a whole bunch of shit. And I feel like, first of all, I was always excited about going to do all those things because I like all those things and I'm interested in all those things. Also, college doesn't necessarily offer specific things like that. And so getting to go and learn about something that you actually want to learn about versus taking a class on insects is
Right.
It's like career center in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dags and I went to Weberville for our career center, and there was like 7 people in the class. Went for agri-science. I only went because Dags wanted to go. And I was like, shit, let's do it.
That's
You
what
know
happens
I'm
with a lot
saying?
of kids, though.
Yeah, but they have a direction for people that are interested in that field.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
like, come here, we can expand your knowledge in this field.
Yeah.
You know,
And
it's
not
the
some
same
other
thing.
bullshit.
So half
Exactly.
the day we were going and learning about agri-science versus spending half our day going to
volleyball,
volleyball
which was dope.
or whatever the fuck.
Shout
Well,
out.
and that's
Haslam
part of the
High
That was
School.
the first half of my day.
That's part of the
dad
problem with these
H-Town?
universities, too, is like, okay, instead of a class on insects, I probably could have taken something that loosely got me some knowledge in the area I was interested in.
Yeah.
Like, not directly, but loosely, more than insects.
More than insects.
But you know what? It would have been a lot harder of a class. I wouldn't have got as good a grade, and that would have affected my GPA in a negative way. And then, so you're weighing, do I take the easy class that doesn't relate to my shit at all so I can get my grade point up, which is good?
Right.
Or do I take the one that relates but is harder, takes more time, and I might not get as good a GPA as a result of it? You got to weigh that out. And a lot of times you're going to weigh out getting the better GPA because that looks better too.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just, and I guess to split the difference, like not to go all, because I'm with you. I'm with the apprenticeships, all that shit. Like figure out what you want and then go get that shit. That's what like grade school and high school is for, dude, is all the other
That's
base
what I
knowledge.
yeah.
Like once
to
you
figure out what you want to do.
yeah, and to get that just general knowledge that like you want every person to have, like be able to fucking do basic math and be able to know basic history and blah, blah, blah. Then college to me is for the, what do you want to do with your life?
Right.
And so to find that happy medium, at least for people, because I was one of these people, when I graduated high school, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. If you don't have a scholarship, don't jump into university. Don't jump into expensive
No.
university. Go to community college for a couple years. Take the shit for cheaper.
That's
and then if you
gotta
want-
get past people like talking like LCC last chance college. You know
No,
what I'm
bro,
saying? You
it's
gotta get
good.
past
It's not
that
that
shit.
Bro, it's
You
good.
You gotta
Like,
get past
do
that.
that.
I went to LCC forever.
Yeah,
I'm,
dude, I wish I
everybody
would have done
went
that
to
in 2
LCC.
years.
I'm within like 2 classes of finishing my associates at LCC.
And bro, if you
And
want
that's
to
what I
then
mean by
transfer to a university for
Exactly.
your last 2 and get your
100%.
degree, get
Right.
your bachelor's degree from like a bigger university, okay,
Yeah.
fine. Like you split the difference,
Yeah.
that's cool. Do your thing. But just I want kids to be, because I wasn't. I want kids to be more aware of what all this shit really is and what it means in the grand scheme of things.
Agreed.
Well, and that's what I did. I went to LCC and then I got my bachelor's somewhere else. And honestly, I'm so lucky that I did that just because, dude, when you go to a college like LCC for your first 2 years and you are in my position where I knew exactly what the hell I wanted to do. Like I'm good with computers. That's what I want to do.
Right.
And so I knew exactly what I wanted to do. So I was able to take the classes that were necessary right away to do that. And because of that fact, I had more people wanting to hire me in for an internship so that I was getting that experience at the same time. And that was all just because I wasn't taking some bullshit like prereq like whatever shit that had nothing to do with the computer shit that I wanted to get into. So the difference between me going to LCC and me going to a university was I was taking those classes right away instead of waiting for my junior and senior year and then doing those internships. And
I think,
to me, that's a fucking ripoff. Like, what am I doing at that point?
You know, it's pace.
So
dude, for real,
big for me on going to a community college or a small college in general. It was, and many people will say this, but just having the resources and the teachers to be able to spend more time with you.
Yeah, it's not 500 people in the class.
Like I said, I'm not a good student, and I'm not the type that's gonna get up in front of 300 other students and be like, I don't understand this shit. I'd be like, I'll Google it and try and figure it out on my own. Whereas at LCC, I would stay after class and I would hang out with teachers and just like try and absorb what this actually meant. And I didn't do that until I was older. When I first tried to go to college, I wouldn't do that at all. I was just trying to get out of there. And when I went back, it was super valuable for me to be able to do that. And I had teachers that I just gained relationships with, and they would say, whenever you need a reference for your resume or whatever, call me.
They're super
They're
helpful.
like more than willing to help you.
And like we started this shit out with, it's a personal thing, because as much as we say all this shit, like I went to Michigan State all 4 years, 5 years really, and Michigan State has way more to offer than Lansing Community College. Like if you indulge in everything they have to offer,
if you indulge
and take advantage
in
of all that
culture.
shit, bro, like there's so much. And so for that person that's gonna take advantage of all that shit, consider that.
Hell yeah.
I wasn't that person. I was the person that went to class, sat in the back of class, really good student, but didn't take advantage of all the extracurricular. But because I was a really good student all through school, I thought, I can't go to the community college. I'm a good student. I got to go to the university with all my other good student friends. That's not what it is.
No.
And that's what I want kids to not think of it as, because that's what I thought of it as, and that was wrong.
And also, too, you mentioned like your GPA and everything like that. Dude, for most jobs, I'm not talking all, like doctors, doesn't relate. Like all that, the high scale like jobs, doesn't relate. Most jobs, your GPA, as long as you have that sheet of paper that says you have a bachelor's degree or a master's or whatever the hell you have, no one gives a fuck about your GPA. No one cares. That was the most eye-opening thing to me when I went to jobs. And even now, I'm interviewing people at my other job for other jobs in the company. We never ask about your GPA.
To me, the biggest thing that like schooling and having a bachelor's degree and all that shows is that you can complete a big task.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
And that's
other than that, like, experience is way more valuable than than any type of schooling. Like if someone has proven that they can do this job, that's way more valuable than someone handing me a piece of paper that says I have a bachelor's degree.
I agree.
Exactly.
And at the same time, though, when people say I had a whatever you want to call it, like a critique of an internship that I did, and they were like, well, to be honest, I would hire you, or I would hire a person with their degree over you, even though I have all these different certifications, because whatever, basically what you were saying, like it proves commitment and this and that. And while that's true, and I didn't have any more experience than them, you have to get experience somewhere, you know? So that's the only thing that pisses me off about.
It's harder to gain experience without the piece of paper.
Yeah, exactly. So that's good. It's good to have in terms of that, and you will get more looks for jobs because of that, but that doesn't mean you're not more qualified. And I guess that comes down to just you just got to grind a little bit.
And that's why it's a couple different conversations we're having. It's like it is. No one's making the argument that in today's world it's not valuable to have your bachelor's degree and all that, and a good thing to go get these things. It is. It's a good thing.
Right.
Another conversation to me, even though I'll say all that, is I don't think it should necessarily be that way.
I agree.
But it is. And so
it is.
You have to personally weigh out all these decisions, and it's just make sure you know all these things and try to get a grasp. And if you don't jump into the most expensive way to figure them out.
Right.
That's the biggest thing to me.
It's easy when when you're around here, a city like Lansing, when there's one big, there's MSU.
Yeah, it's right in our backyard.
MSU or LCC, those are your options.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm not trying to go to U of M per se because A, it's more expensive. B, it's further away. C, that's the fucking rival team. You know, it's like this shit's here. You know what I'm saying? But to the regret point, I'm not like one for like regret. You know what I mean? I truly believe everything happens for a reason. Everything is meant to be how it is. Even when you have to go through shit to get to shit. But one of my biggest regrets, I would say, is during those college times when you're like figuring shit out, going to class or not going to class. Yo, I wish I would have been more committed to what I wanted to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My time was too split up into what I thought I was supposed to do versus like what I wanted to do and saw myself doing type thing. You know, you get caught up or when you see some like success, like when we were doing the local thing, it was so dope. Plus, because you go to class and it's like, damn, I just did a show last night and got paid and you were probably there. You know what I'm saying? Like the teacher's talking about the show type shit. Yeah. You get full. You know what I'm saying? And then when you're full, you aren't hungry, obviously, and you don't do all the shit that got you to that point. And that could be equated to anything, really.
And that's a good point too, though, as far as like the whole no regrets thing. But you can still learn and pass knowledge on, but it doesn't mean you necessarily have to be like, I should have done this, because bro, you could probably make a decent argument as far as like, at least for Mo and I. Yeah, if I would have done shit differently, who knows what would have happened with any of this music shit.
Right. Yeah.
Like maybe a lot of this shit fell into place because of decisions we made along these lines. And now look, and yeah, then it's easy to say, well, now that I know I'm doing this music shit, I wish I wouldn't have done this other shit.
Right.
But I never fucking thought I'd be doing this music shit, so I can't make decisions based off that. Like it was never even in the cards for me to be like, no, I'm not going to go to college. I'm going to spend my money to become a fucking rapper. Right. That was never an option. Never a thought. Now in hindsight, it's like, I wish I would have done that shit.
Right. That makes sense.
And that's why over anything, I just preach, figure out what you want.
Right. And get it, man.
And if you don't know, don't do the most expensive thing to figure it out.
Or the most popular thing, period.
Yeah, you got to know yourself.
Yeah,
like don't do what everybody else is doing. Like you're literally sit down and try to figure it out.
To go to school, kindergarten through high school, through 12th grade. Then you graduate. Then you go to college. Then you get married. Then you have children.
School is all you know.
Then you work until you're 62. Then you retire.
Yeah.
Right. That's what you're like brought up believing that's what you're supposed to do.
Right.
And I think a lot of people, when it doesn't work out like that, when it's like, I'm supposed to do this and it's not happening, a lot of people get discouraged.
Right. Bro, that's why. Sure. So I went 4 years to MSU. I got my bachelor's degree and the music shit was popping. And Mo still had like another year before you graduated. And I was like, okay, this music shit is on the verge. Or I have my bachelor's degree. I graduated. I can go get a good job. But we were in this limbo. And instead, which I wish I would have done now, is just take a year off. Go work, make some money. But take a year off. School was all I knew, and I was good at school. And I was like, well, I'm gonna add to my schooling, and I got a specialization to put on my fucking resume or whatever. And I went to school, paid for an extra year of school at a university. And in hindsight, I'm like, man, the only reason you did that is to buy time, and you bought time in the only way you knew, which was going to school.
By buying time.
You literally
I literally bought time, and then I
bought
ended
the
up
most expensive time.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I know I can only speak from my experience, and that's why I say the things I'm saying. Everybody's different. Like there's probably some people listening like, yeah, I already knew that, dumbass. Why'd you do that? And that's true.
Right.
Like, but that was me, and I know
think a lot of young people don't know that though, because everybody goes to school for how many years until end of high school?
Yeah.
Like everybody does that, or most people.
And
like,
that's the thing.
It's like and you have law.
To, right? And that's the thing. Everybody, that's all they know.
I know. That's why I hate
doesn't matter whether you're good or bad
of anything though, because it's like, on the other hand, I don't like when people just like glorify not going to college, because it's like, doesn't. I'm not saying that's the way.
Right.
I'm just
Right.
saying figure out what's good for you.
For sure.
Exactly.
Well, that's what people don't do is every single thing is individual.
Yes.
Everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything, man. Even like eating a piece of pizza. You know what I'm
Yeah.
Something like pepperoni gives me heartburn. Why don't you just eat it like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just random shit. Everything is different for
Yeah.
everyone. But we try, like, as humans to just generalize. It's easier
Yeah.
to just
And
kinda-
sometimes you have to, as far as
Yeah.
like government and like what you have to do things for the general public, like
Yeah.
and figure out what's good for most people. It's just, but yeah, I agree with you. From personal decision standpoint, you don't have to do that.
And like you said, when you're used to something, like school is all you knew because that's all we're taught.
Yeah,
You go to school.
yeah.
And then you get out of school, then you go to school.
Right.
Then you get out of school, then you finish
And someone
the
that
rest
was
of your life.
good at school, it's like, yeah, it's all you know, and it's not like the worst thing in the world to fucking do it. Because I know some people are probably like you said, you fucking weren't good at school or whatever, and it's like, yeah, you probably, if you were in my position, like you can't imagine fucking being like, oh, I graduated, I'm gonna go another year, like that's
No.
wild to you.
Yeah.
That's shows that everybody's different.
Yeah.
Well, I saw a clip come by my timeline that explained it perfectly as far as like, instead of teaching our kids to go to college, why aren't we after high school being like, okay, sit down with yourself. Like you've learned enough, like since graduating high school. You should be able to think critically about yourself enough to be able to answer whether or not you are a person that didn't like school didn't really jive with you. You are good at selling things. You are very outgoing. You know, all this shit. You're probably somebody that would really benefit from starting a business, being an entrepreneur type of that type of stuff.
Right.
Or there's nothing wrong with you can be like the fifth or sixth man at a company, build yourself up and everything like that. Is that what you're most comfortable with because you don't like to make those connections, but you're really good at narrowing down on tasks and things like that? Those are easy questions for you to actually answer about yourself. So one of those answers results in you going to college.
Right.
One of those does not.
Right.
Choose one and then go with it. And then you can always pivot. Like halfway down the road, if you're like, oh shit, like I actually made the wrong choice. Like, let me go to college. Or I made the wrong choice. Let me not go to college. You don't have to dive into college or not dive into college. Like
That's the
there's
most-
not a thing.
That's the most important thing to remember to me is that no one knows exactly what they want. Very few people just go to college for 4 years. They're done. They get the job that they wanted. Everything works out and they work there forever. Somewhere you're going to have to pivot, just like you said.
Right.
Like you might go to college for 2 years, realize that that's not the major you wanted, and continue to go to college for something else.
Yeah.
You might go to college for 2 years and realize that you don't want to go to college at all.
Right.
You might go to college and then get a job and then realize that that job is not what you want. It's fine that things aren't going to just work out for your entire life.
Like
And that's what makes me so...
It doesn't have to be
just
permanent.
bugs me about people that are just like, oh, my job sucks and like my life sucks
Right.
and this and that. It's like, you don't have to do that.
Right. Right. And it's a choice, and that's why I get a little bit irritated is just like when we tell kids it's college and that's it. Like, no, like actually give these kids a chance as far as like getting them off on the right foot.
Especially with what our college is today, bro. College means get this piece of paper for fucking insane amounts of debt.
Right. Like let's actually start people out on a level that's way ahead of everybody else that thought that they had to do the university route or had to do like and just go into insane amounts of debt and everything like that. That's
and we've
insane.
talked about it before, but it's like, dude, kids doing this shit are just
And
crippled,
grown ass,
bro.
how many
It's
grown
nuts.
ass people do you know that are still paying the
Oh,
college
bro,
debts off
I know,
from
I know.
like 50 years ago.
And I feel for him because I'm not on the side of like I'm on the personal responsibility side of like, bro, you took money out, you got to fucking pay it back.
Yeah.
But I feel for you because I was with you as far as like, I thought this is what I was supposed to do and I had to do. And it sucks, man. Like it's a shitty situation. And the only thing I think we can do is just be more educated about it. And and that's why I think it's valuable to like None of us did shit perfectly. None of us had the best grasp on it or whatever. But I think the best thing you can do to people, the generation behind you, is share what you learned from your experience and let them make their decisions based off of it.
Right.
And you know what? Sorry, go.
No, you're good. No.
Okay.
Nah.
Fucking go. I think something that I learned throughout college, and I honestly think it was the biggest thing that I've taken away in my adult life, is that, and I was not like this, but I have become not afraid to talk to people about anything. As far as this person works in this industry and I'm curious about this industry, hit them up and ask about it.
Ask them questions.
Even if if you weren't friends with them in high school, but you went to high school together, even if they're your parents' friend, whatever, just ask them. Just see what it's about. Your teacher, you don't understand something, get with them and talk to them about it. You missed a test and you fucked up and you did something, you didn't turn something in or whatever. Just talk to them. Just see what's out there. Just confront things. That's been huge for me because, like I said, I'm not that type of person in general, and I became that way, and that's the only way that I've learned the things that I have. And your parents will tell you when you're young, like, there's no dumb questions, but you don't feel like that when you're young.
Right. Well,
there's not.
You start to realize when you do what you're saying to do that people out there are not, I don't know how to say this, people aren't as smart as you think they are. Exactly. When you know what I mean? And I don't even say that, I don't even mean that in a bad way, but you tend to, especially as a kid or in an area that you're not familiar with, you tend to just give these people all this credit. Like, bro, people might do it with me as far as the music industry or making music, where it's like, oh, well, Packy's been doing this for 10 years. He must just, like, this shit I don't even fucking... No, like, we learned everything through experience, and there's still plenty of shit we don't fucking know.
Right. I ask you questions about music stuff.
Yeah.
And you're one of my good friends, and that could be awkward. I also ask another good friend who's also a personal trainer. He's training me right now.
Chad, shout out.
Yeah, so
H-Town, who?
That's one of those things, is you can learn something from everybody. And it's just important to understand that, and you just absorb as much information as you can. You don't learn everything in class.
Closed mouths don't get fed, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
For real.
Damn, that was a fucking voicemail question?
Yo, Alexander from Birmingham.
That's lit. He's about to do the topic list next week.
For real. Shout out to you, dude.
Was that it on voicemails?
That's it.
Dang. We ain't coming up, huh?
You see Melo got traded?
No.
Yeah.
Where the fuck you get traded to?
Bulls. Bulls. It sounds like he's going to get waived and become a free agent.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a fucking fast fall for him.
Damn. Him and Lala are working shit out, though. That's good.
Is it?
It is good.
Yeah, for sure.
You asked.
Is it? Is it? I think they should split.
Siren power.
Warriors will probably sign him.
I mean, fuck it.
That
League
would
minimum.
low-key be a good pickup for them.
Yeah,
because it'd just be like another dude.
Yeah.
That'd be fucking ridiculous.
I know. It would.
He's like the seventh man on the team.
Yo,
Carmelo
well, that's
Anthony.
the thing is,
Hall of Famer Carmelo
on any
Anthony.
other team, you're at this point, you're kind of like, whatever. He's not going to add a lot. But if he goes to the Warriors, he does add a lot because he's just a veteran
shooter.
Fucking ball player.
That's nuts, though. I mean, that probably won't happen.
I don't think so, but.
Jeez. Well, anything else you guys want to throw out there before we blow this popsicle stand?
Will AB get traded?
That's a weird saying. Now that I'm thinking
AB, yes, he will get traded.
To the Lions?
Well, he wants to go to the Niners, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That's Jerry Rice said, but
didn't somebody?
I mean,
else?
I don't want him. I don't want him to come to the Lions. I like AB as a player, but he seems like a diva, and he obviously wants to get paid, and I just don't think it's like a need for us.
Tell Matt what's what. Get your punk ass up stuff.
Well, plus we just hired an offensive coordinator that just loves to run the ball, so I'm not trying to go invest in a wide receiver.
Le'Veon
and carry on. A lot of ons.
A lot of carry ladies.
Our fucking running
And
backs
the
will be on
Lions.
after that.
Dude, if we really run the ball that much, Stat Padford's gonna be pissed.
Really, if we run the ball that much, we better not get Le'Veon and get 5 offensive linemen that can block.
For real.
Yeah.
That's real.
Facts.
And
Guys, what are we
protect
talking
Matt.
about? We're gonna go get the fucking 8th or 9th pick in the draft next year, just
Wide
like
receiver.
we all do, just like the Pistons. I think last I checked,
Tight end.
Pistons are like one spot out of the playoffs in their typical situation.
Yep.
Not shitty, not amazing. I think I did a podcast earlier this year about how the Pistons always do that, and there they are.
Yep.
Andre Drummond's going oof.
Is he?
Kinda. He's averaging like 20 and 15, something crazy. At least 15
Blake's
boys. I
been
know for a
balling. I
fact.
know that.
Yo, I still
got any
don't
guards.
love the Blake shit. It's cool.
Dude,
he's alright.
He's a player though.
It makes it more exciting to watch the team, but
I
it's not.
guess.
It's not a good long term.
At least it's a dude that you can base a team around a little bit. We never have those guys.
Except the problem is he'll be that guy for the next like 3 years when we don't have the pieces around him, and then by the time we might have a few young pieces, he'll be on the downside of his career.
He's
Well,
like running
part of that
point
is
right
our
now.
own fucking dumbass fault
Agreed.
because we can't draft him.
No, I know, I agree.
We take Darko over Dwayne Wade,
Fucking
Carmelo Anthony.
Luke Kennard over
Darko.
Donovan Mitchell, Dag's
He won the
boy.
ship that year.
No,
Fucking bum.
Luke Kennard's your boy, dude.
I don't mind him. He's been playing all right lately, actually.
Denard Robinson.
You talking about Shoelace?
Isn't that the
Who lays?
football player?
Yeah, Mr. November Heisman.
Yeah, if he ain't go to stay, I don't know what you fucking talking about.
All right, we're fucking losing it. We gotta get the fuck out of here. All right, that was podcast 49. Podcast 50 coming up. I don't know if we'll have anything special for that. I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
50
Fucking
callers.
better.
If we get 50 callers, I'm giving out $50. PayPal. I mean Venmo. Whatever you want. Cash. I got you.
Yeah. All right, it's been real. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Peace.
Wait, I got one more thing to say.
Fuck
Bullshit.
you. You should have said it earlier.
Rich the Kid.
Wow.
Rich the Kid used to sleep on my couch.
All right, peace.
Who? Rich the Kid. Rich the Kid.